Welcome to the Weekend Must Watch on Intercut, the weekly show going through all the movies, TV, and entertainment that people just can't cut away from. I'm your co-host
Ooh.
Arturo Zurita, and joining me, getting ready to get that, what is it, the Kenny special? Over at New Joaquin, it's
Mm,
Zachary
mm.
Shevitz!
What's going on, man? We gotta hit up all the places that get referenced in the diss tracks, right? I know
Mhm.
you usually park up next to WeHo King, but you won't be doing
I've
that
been,
this year,
I've been smelling it all these years. Who would have thought
right?
that it would have been, who would have thought that that beef was actually what would almost
Yeah,
inspire
yeah,
a little bit of this beef this year?
Hey,
It's it sounds like it's gonna be a good year, though.
yeah.
The weather's already getting nicer. You could already
hmm
feel the fall season approaching. I've been sniffling like crazy, but it's worth it.
hmm
I prefer it over the spring sniffles that leads to a hot summer. Oh, we are in autumn. I feel it already. The pumpkin spice is already up in the air. They get earlier and earlier. It's the best time of the year, really. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm also a big fan of the fall weather. It is confusing for when we travel to Toronto because I feel like that's always the time of year where you feel summer turn to fall. I don't know how to pack for that kind of weather, but like once we're here and I can wear a layer, that's in me in my happy place. That's me in my
Yes,
best
sir.
mode. Yeah.
hmm by the time you get to New York, New York's cold. I loved when we did it a couple years ago, but that's cold. It's just
Yeah.
concrete, bro. You're just getting hit with nothing
Especially because
but
they
bad
leave
stuff.
you outside on lines a lot of the time.
In the morning,
Yeah, 8 a.m. in the morning when there's a slight drizzle outside, waiting for a New York
bro,
Film Festival movie is
no
not the
chairs.
look,
Yeah,
but we do what we gotta.
you can't sleep on a bench. You can barely sit on a bench in New York. It is freezing as it can be. But Toronto's right around the corner. Zach and Amanda were able to do a breakdown of all the stuff that is all things TIFF. Chase joined them as well.
Yeah.
They're all going to be doing the recaps from there. I might get some screeners here and there as I stay back. We are upon what is going to be an insane uh, Oscar season. To us is really the movie season, baby. But there is so much good stuff on the horizon because all the stuff we've talked about leading into these festivals, bro, they started and there's movies coming out of left field. People are rearranging stuff. They're like, oh, never mind. There are trailers dropping for movies we were anticipating. Now
Mm-hmm.
it's got us kind of questioning it. A lot of stuff out there, man. I don't know if there's any stragglers or things, especially I know right before this you were getting new tickets for TIFF. Any new highlights or things that are now on the horizon?
Oh man, I mean, there's so much that I'm anticipating, and part of the like dilemma that I face every year when I go to TIFF, you mentioned that New York is immediately after it, is that like New York gets these really interesting movies, and I know like to be responsible, I should save those movies for New York when I have another
Yeah.
opportunity to see them.
Yes.
But I kind of
But
really want to see Queer. I
uh
kind of
huh.
want to see a new Luca Guadagnino movie. I also like have heard incredible things about the Brutalist. Do you want to talk about the Brutalist for a second?
Honestly, bro, you know that's our boy. Like
Yeah.
everyone's now going back to Vox Lux. And look, I
hmm
know Gatekeeper. I just wish you guys were there when it came out. I saw that one in New York. That was when I
hmm
visited way back when, dude, when I had stayed there for the month. That was a banger of a movie.
Yeah.
And I think my favorite quote so far, I'm sure you have plenty, but it's been the people coming out saying, oh, this is what Megalopolis was supposed to be. Dude, I'm
Yeah. I
so
mean,
excited.
there's a lot of hyperbole around the movie right now. Like I'm seeing
Sure.
reviews that are like, "It's there will be blood for this decade or whatever" and stuff like that. And
Why
you know,
not?
I'll look. I'm here for it. I'm excited for it. I don't want my hype to go like through the roof, but
Take me.
Brady's a filmmaker I think we've been really, really excited for, and it feels like he's really, like, really going for it. Right, this is a movie
Yeah.
that's apparently 3.5 hours long, including an intermission, which is pretty cool. A
Oh,
lot
they
of
are
people are
including it?
saying, yeah, they are including intermission.
Okay.
There's a lot of people who are miscategorizing it as having been shot on 70 millimeter. It was shot on VistaVision and then printed onto 70 millimeter. But VistaVision is this like
Way.
really wide 65 millimeter format that's similar kind of like to IMAX. Um,
Okay.
there's videos of the
Tell them.
projectionist at Venice celebrating getting to the end of the reels.
Oh, I love that stuff. If you've ever been to a
Yeah.
70 millimeter screening, you know that like there is no silence. The movie has to take into account the projector during the
hmm
silence. And yeah, when he cheered right at the end, that was the best part. It's a
Yeah.
living, breathing performance at that point. With them not just putting it together beforehand, but like they're putting on a show for you. I really want to catch it in 70 millimeter. I'm pulling up the stats over here, like you were mentioning, with it being shot. in VistaVision. I've been curious on how that would look because there's been plenty of movies. Um, the Boogeyman did the same thing.
Mhm.
That one by the dude who did Dash Cam and whatever that other on-screen movie was. He's kind of hit or miss for me, but I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. The horror director.
Yeah.
He had
Host.
Host. No, you are right. Thank you. Host. He did
Yeah.
Host. He did whatever the other one I just said. But when he did the Boogeyman, he printed it on there. Longlegs, I think, was also shot digitally, printed on 35. So
Mhm.
I'm curious to see how this one works because it may be cleaner. It may not. It really all depends on what you catch when you're at that screening. But is this playing at TIFF or New
Yeah,
York?
Brutalist is playing at TIFF. I think that's one that I'm going to wait for New York though. Even though the reviews have just been incredible around that
Awesome
one.
stuff.
Yeah,
Beautiful stuff. Do you know if it's going to be on film?
I believe so. I mean, usually in New York they try to screen things in those
Well,
formats when they're available. So I'm
that'd be
hoping
the
at
other thing
least.
with Queer too. Like, get the one that's going to get you Luca there, bro, and the
Mm-hmm.
cast there. And that's the best thing
Mm-hmm.
about New York is that they do the schedule for you. You sit down, they've got you. But Vox Lux, I'll just end it by saying, please watch this movie. Please
Yeah.
watch this movie. This movie is fire. It's really good. Um, Other than that, any other things on the horizon? Stuff from Telluride that stood out
Well,
before we get into the main?
you did allude to it that there was a trailer drop right before we started streaming for a movie that is highly touted at TIFF. A lot of people anticipate that Amy Adams is going to be in the Oscar race. I don't know if they're continuing to anticipate that now that there's a trailer for Night Bitch out in the
I,
world.
I saw people pull their stocks.
Yeah. I think our boy Cole, an Oscar expert, is taking her out of the top 5 for Best Actress. I don't know if I'm completely sold on her not being a contender off that trailer though.
You think it's a bad trailer? We might get something
I'm
different.
saying I'm saying that like it does look like a pretty like broad silly comedy, but
Bruh.
that when you put Amy Adams in a broad silly comedy, sometimes you get Enchanted, sometimes you even get the Muppets. Like she knows how to play in that vein and do it like really well. Her first Oscar nominated role, Junebug, is a really fun performance.
So you're saying she's not getting no Oscar then because Enchanted didn't get no Oscars like that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'd track her to win it, but I think she could still get a nomination. I mean, look, she's
Sure.
gonna be like a dog. Maybe she'll transform. I don't know,
Maybe.
man. Like,
I don't
I,
know, bro.
there is a reason that when I was doing my like early Oscar prediction stuff, I have her in the actress race. I don't really have this movie in the Best Picture race, and I
Mm,
think I mentioned before. I went through the book, so like it is an interesting story, and I anticipate that it could translate to a good movie, but um I don't know if it's necessarily like prestige bread and butter, the
mm.
Academy's tastes.
We'll see. I've been a big fan of Mariel Heller. Obviously, I've been on the
Yeah,
campaign for her to win an Oscar. Amy Adams as well. But look, I agree with you. I don't think the trailer's enough to sway me that it's going to be bad because she
right.
hasn't had a miss in my opinion. So
That's the
I'm
thing,
just
right?
worried that the
If
Oscar campaign, which is what people are really hoping for Amy in particular, is
Mhm.
just going to continue to extend for whatever the next one is. But
Yeah,
go ahead.
it's just a different story if this is coming to us from a bad filmmaker or starring a
Yes.
mediocre actress. This is
Right.
Marielle Heller working with Amy Adams. Like it has to be a little bit more than kind of like the base level
Right.
elements that you're seeing,
Yeah,
you know?
I'm not taking anything less than that. But I also heard her quotes on it. What got people a little divisive. I was also hoping. I'm like, all right, bad trailer, maybe bad quotes from the director talking about who it's for and who it's not, and it becoming very reductive. I'm like, bro, we're just gonna have to wait and see. I think TIFF is the premiere, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, it will
All
be
right,
world premiering at TIFF.
you secured it.
Yeah, I've secured the morning after screening, so I get to
The Plan B
revel
screening,
in in the aftermath.
bro. Worst case scenario. I'm not gonna. I don't even think this is one, but please, I hope you're not up and you just hear the worst things and you have to wake up like at night. There is nothing worse at a festival for those who have
Mhm.
gone. When you have tickets for the next day, we've done this at Sundance, South by. We're like, yeah, we're not getting up for that.
No, the reviews can sometimes sway you.
Oh,
We'll see. I mean,
some crazy
that's
stuff.
also part of the fun of these film festivals is
Yeah,
figuring out what is getting the good buzz and then shifting your schedule at the last minute.
exactly. Well, it's gonna be a fun fest. Drink some Timmies for me. We'll be checking in with y'all.
For
Zach,
sure.
Caitlin, and Chase are going to be coming in. But let's move on to the show for the real meat and potatoes that we
Yeah.
had for those of us who are at home, because it is the summer season of movies, and while August has been some of the lowest points for a lot of studios, there's also a lot of highlights out there. The Crow wasn't a highlight for too many people, though. This is the remake, another adaptation, if you want to call it, of the obviously very famous graphic novel turned into iconic movie. A movie that has inspired so many things. Like, I went back to watch it. That's solid, bro. I don't know your thoughts on the original Crow, but if you want to start with
Never seen
that,
it.
it really look. Huh?
Never seen it.
What do you mean?
I mean,
On
it's
Blu-ray?
a movie that I haven't seen.
You saw this one?
Yeah, I saw this one. This is the I don't know. This is the dilemma we constantly get with these remakes. Is like, am I really gonna put myself through the wannabe version without seeing the original? But I just didn't have the time to go back.
Okay. At least okay. So you have nothing to
Point of
reference back then.
comparison. Yeah, I don't
That's
have
good.
that.
All right. Because that is one thing, right? We always come into this stuff and we know that there's always IP, there's always all these different things like Alien, right? People got
Yeah.
really upset because of the connections that it had with all the older stuff. But in reality, for new fans, they're not going to care. So for this one, if you're a new fan, I don't know how much you're going to be judging it to it is a classic. It makes
Right.
complete sense that a lot of fans are trashing it because this is a story where the Crow is an individual who just comes back because of an immense grief that they have. So it didn't technically have to be the same Crow that Brandon Lee played, who tragically died in that movie. Obviously, I'm curious your thoughts though, because the more that I've seen people talk about this, we are in this weird place though, where it's a mid movie for sure,
Mhm.
but it's worse the more you're attached to the original. And at a certain point, we're not reviewing movies. Correct me if I'm wrong. We're
Mhm.
reviewing IP.
Right, exactly. And I think a lot of people, I think there's a couple things that people are letting cloud their opinions of this. Part of that is the sort of cursed aspect of this IP, right? Like,
It was
should
cursed.
they make this movie, right?
Yeah.
Is it wrong to even touch this story? There's also the aspect of reviewing the production history, right? Because this is
Hmm.
a long delayed movie that apparently has gone through a lot of work in post, and I think there's sort of this anticipation, particularly with it getting put out at the end of August, a dumping ground for these blockbuster movies,
Terrible.
that this is going to be the worst of the worst. And I didn't think it was the worst of the worst. I didn't think it was great either. But,
Exactly.
you know, Amanda oddly kind of put something in my head that unlocked it a little bit. And I
Okay.
know she didn't really like this movie, but
Oh
comparing
yeah,
it
man.
to a
She got a
YA,
video out. Check it out.
yeah, shout out Amanda the Jedi. But comparing this film to like YA movies, I feel like this has got an aspect where you see a movie like The Hunger Games and it's like, oh, it's about these battles to the death, and like you never see any blood. There's like a pulling their punches aspect to a lot
Hmm.
of YA adaptations. This felt like one that's kind of going for it, right? Like they
Right?
they will go full throttle. The violence is gory. Like it doesn't just say it's dark or allude to dark themes. It is pretty dark
Yeah.
and badass, if that's the kind of thing that you like, or just like perhaps a little indulgent if that's not the
Hmm.
thing you like. But I don't know. I think like if you are sort of like a a moody teenager, I could see kind of responding to this material.
And that's, I think, what stood out to me is this idea of like it has to be cringe. For
Right.
it to be authentic, it needs to get to this corny part of
Yeah.
like, oh, I love you. Of course it's gonna sound dumb. If I'm hard to love, love me harder. Bro, you say the stupidest things when you're in love. Of course it's gonna be
Yeah.
there. What really did it for me was realizing that this does a completely different take, not just from the original movie, but it takes stuff from the comic and it remixes it, because a lot of the behind the scenes, dude, it's FKA Twigs doing it from scratch. She picked his clothing. She did the music. She worked on production design and she wrote her character from the bottom up. She met
Hmm.
with the director and the director told her, "Yo, blank slate, go." So if I'm being honest with you, this is an FKA music video. And I understand all the critiques because they are not wrong when they say it feels like it's just going by like that. It literally is the artist formerly known as Twigs making a feature length, like you said, moody type of movie about
Yeah.
love that's cringy. It's got all those different things.
It's kind of proudly emo, you know.
Super.
It's got the hair swooped over the eye and the dark hair gel and the thick eyeshadow, but like it's a mood, and to an extent, like I respect creating a tone, right? Like I think
Yeah.
there's too many movies that kind of try to just be like really straight down the middle, don't offend anybody, be everything for everybody, and they don't feel distinctive, and they don't really leave any lasting memory. And while yeah, like this is very melodramatic and kind of cringy if you have matured past maybe this phase in your life, I do think it is like somewhat effective at delivering this darkly tinged coming of age story that doesn't pull its punches, that is a bit uh haunted, and really, I don't know, just like very embraces its emo nature is the
Yeah.
best way I could put it.
Especially the cringe of it. Some of the
Mhm.
changes that they make, for those who don't know the story, is that it's always surrounding a couple where something goes wrong, one of them dies, and
Right.
in that, in this particular case, the character of Eric comes back to life through this vengeance known as the Crow, and where he's going to seek revenge on his lover in hopes of bringing her back, or doing something to take down the people who got them. And they changed the villains a little bit because it's like this whispering villain that is his. They made like a deal with the devil. It's long legs again, and through that he's got to like take them down one by one. There's an incredible action sequence at the end that they put part of out already, and it's funny that this is a Lionsgate movie
Hmm.
because they got the John Wick people to just do it. I heard they had a completely different take for the ending of it, and it's kind of funny that they were like, hey, let's do something new with the fight scene. Wait, we just got response on us doing something new with the take on the movie. Never mind,
Hmm.
go back to the same old, do the John Wick style.
Yeah.
So they change it up, and that ends up being everyone's favorite part. So
Right.
it's like people don't like the new thing. They want it, or they think it's the same old retread, but then they do actually retread with the action sequence. I, it is all over the place, but I think that's part of what makes the series kind of interesting, because to me, we've had multiple Draculas. The original, which you need to check out, definitely inspired The Dark Knight. It definitely inspired Heath Ledger, and they kind of share that similar kind of fate,
Yeah.
where the legacy of both of those movies, from The Crow and The Dark Knight, have kind of stayed. And uh, there have been new Jokers. Funny enough, if the original Crow was inspired Heath Ledger's Joker, Jared Leto's Joker clearly inspired this one. They've been talking about all the SoundCloud rappers being a part of it. You were mentioning how delayed it was. I think the worst part of it is that the influences, that culture that we had of the Lil Peeps, which they name dropped in the behind the scenes, and Lil Xan, we've kind of passed that already. So like maybe it would have hit a little bit better if they would have timed it perfectly, but there was so many delays, bro. I think that original director had something to do with it. That man is unhinged on his Facebook page. I have never seen a bigger hater in my life.
Yeah.
And I don't even think he's doing it for like the, oh no, you can't do. He knows they sell Halloween costumes for the original Crow, and he doesn't want it to be taken away.
Yep. He sees those residual checks.
Dude,
What
yeah,
what
nothing
was
that
what did he say? Like it's a cash. You could
cash
say it's a
grab,
cash
but there ain't
grab,
really
but
cash to grab.
oh,
It was a bar though.
that's a
I'll give it
bar.
to him.
Oh, this side of Kendrick, that's one of the best disses I've heard this
Oh,
year.
yeah, but he's hating really hard on it. Look, it's still a mid film, but I think that the tone, I think all of the movies have been able to carry this nice aesthetic to them. There is I want to see if I can find the entire lineup over here. Yeah, let me pull this up right here. I find it funny when people say like you can't remake it. How could they do that, guys? I don't know how to put this, but there has been, where'd they go? I just had them on here. There has been so many Crows, and many that are a lot worse.
Right.
City of Angels is not the best, but still had the same visuals of it. There is a follow up to this. There is a mini series. There are so many other ones that have already come out. So I find it funny when people are like, no, they can't remake the original. But buddy, they've remade it 3 times. But I think the best thing they could have done is if they actually would have approached it, like I said, from the lore of it not having to be Eric. People want to retire Brandon's version of Eric like Kobe's number. They just
Mhm.
want to put that away, and I understand that.
Yeah.
But this is a story where I think the best thing that this one could have done, especially with FKA Twigs making it from scratch, name him Bob, bro. Name her something else. Like at that point, just have it be that. One of my favorite lines though. They're at the what's it called? They're in prison together, co-ed prison for whatever reason. And she says that she had met someone in rehab and things didn't turn out well. Girl, Heart on your sleeve much?
Yeah, yeah, a little close to home.
But overall, The Crow, it's an okay movie. Definitely is. You cannot compare it to the original because it's that's unfair to it. But it's one of those that I consider it a cover. It's a story that's going to be retold many times, and just like a cover song, maybe they do it justice, maybe they don't, but it's someone's interpretation of it. But anytime a new cover, anytime a new remix comes out, I think it never gets rid of the original. And if anything, should tell you that Zach, you need to go see the original because that's why this one came out. It's
Put it
fantastic.
on the
Please
watch
watch it.
list.
Please watch it. It's good. It's good. It's good.
Should I
But that
skip
is
Night Pitch
The
for it?
Crow. Yes. The moment you get the bad review, just stay up late watching it.
Sounds good.
Oh man. Moving on to some of the other stuff that also came out that week. It was an interesting week because they were fighting for the Dolby, and that's when you know, like, yo, we got a good amount of, I don't know if you want to call them original, but movies fighting to be in those premium spots. And I had seen this one in Dolby, then immediately saw this The Crow in Dolby. They were swapping out. It ends with us. Ended up taking the Dolby from them. I don't know how that happened, but it did. And they should have given it to this one because honestly, right off the bat, I'm gonna tell you, I like what Zoe was cooking with in Blink twice.
Nice. I mostly enjoyed it. So I'm curious
Okay.
what specifically like you kind of responded to with it.
There's a lot of homages that she makes in the movie, and
Mhm.
in following how she was using movies to talk about a movie, I thought that was a nice meta aspect to it that I then heard in her interviews mention. Like, I like you knowing that I'm making a movie the same way that I would. You could tell she's a big Paul Thomas Anderson fan,
Mm.
and I think a big critique that I've heard, which is fair, is that it's a little derivative on Paul Thomas Anderson. Um, even under that ending, if you know what I'm talking about, for one of my favorite Paul Thomas Anderson movies.
Mhm.
But I liked what she was cooking with because I thought she had a very nice visual style to it. Uh, it was a movie that was prepared before, like even Harvey Weinstein got locked up. So
Mhm.
it kind of sucks that it's now obviously in the shadow of a "Don't Worry, Darling." It's in the shadow of the Get Outs of the world, of all these other
Yeah.
things. But I always think back to when Coco and Book of Life came out, and people were like, "Whoa, two movies that are very similar on Day of the Dead." Man, we get 20 Christmas movies a year. Like, I don't think it's bad to see different takes on stuff like this, especially
Mhm.
because she builds her own world on this island where this tech mogul known as Slater King takes people out there, and then they may or may not be remembering things as they remember them, as they go day by day and maybe weeks by weeks. And
Yeah. It's
having
sort of
rewatched it, there's a lot
yeah.
of clues in there that I enjoyed.
Yeah, it's sort of getting after that feeling of when you're on vacation, you can't remember what day of the
Hmm.
week it is anymore. Like he whisks them away to this tropical island paradise, and everything is quite literally too good to be true. It ends up being a pretty interesting kind of thriller. Don't Worry, Darling, and Get Out probably are the most apt recent comparisons, and it probably lands somewhere in the middle of those two movies quality wise. It's definitely I liked it definitely better than Don't Worry, Darling.
For sure.
Um, there's a lot of cool style to this movie. It's got one of my favorite title card drops in recent memory. It
Thank you. Right?
reminded me a little bit of how the title card drops in Killing Them Softly, where it just sort of just does a quick cut in. Very cool stuff. And I like the style of it. I like the way that the narrative just sort of unfurls and it jumps around and it leaves you disoriented in a way that's similar to the characters. I do think,
Yeah.
and I wonder maybe a little bit of this is the marketing itself, that like there's a little bit of a lull in the middle where you kind of are waiting for them to kind of reveal something. It feels too good to be true pretty quickly,
Hmm.
and you're left sort of anticipating the twist to come out. And when they actually start like revealing what the twist is, I think it is really satisfying. It
Yeah.
all leads up to this explosive third act, which is like one of the better finales I think we got to a movie this year, even if there is some logic in there that doesn't really
A little
cohere to
skewed.
me.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, like it's not a movie that I think you should like sit down after and try to piece together like why did she do that then and not her. But if you just sort of like experience it as the like front to back thriller that it is, I think it's a really good time. Like I was personally thinking to how much fun we have when we go to South by and we see films with a rowdy crowd that get
Mm,
like
should have been there.
mid-movie applause breaks. Like this is a movie that's perfectly made for something like that because it is
That sucks. It
it
didn't get it. Yeah.
right, like it has these really satisfying crescendos, and even if there's maybe like elements that don't all add up to me,
Mhm.
I still think it's a fun time.
I had the same thing. That middle part, I felt just like you did. It's kind of taking its time to get there. You're like, okay, what are we gonna do with this? Then you get that explosive reveal on a rewatch. I'm like, oh, I see what you were doing. She's kind of in that little lull moment, showing you some tricks already, kind of showing
Mm,
you a bunch of the stuff that's about to come up. And I'm like, all right, you're clever. You're really clever. I heard that there was a lot of iterations of the script because her and Channing got engaged after meeting. Uh, she thought of him for the role because she's like, who's the most attractive person that'll just
hmm.
lull you over? Channing Tatum. Perfect. They ended up falling in love. A complete twist of obviously the don't worry darling press run and all the controversy that happened there. Here's where it actually goes well: a director and their star actually coming together. And he's revealed a lot about the different iterations, one of them specifically being the title, which you were anticipating and were bummed out that they changed. And learning more about it, I'm even more bummed because the reason she had to change it, and she's being really nice about it, but I know
Mhm.
it grinds her gears, but she learned her lesson after that Oscars to just keep it zipped. Bro, it was test audiences made up of females that made the studio come up to her and say, you're swapping it out.
Hmm.
But Channing still calls it Pussy Island in every single interview. He still walks around with the merch they were going to give out. They had lighters with it.
Mm.
They had all this other different stuff. And I'm like, bro, they ruined our artistic vision. I feel already from that point. And this is a
Yeah.
movie where, obviously, with the times that we're in, the ending I think really builds up well. But I'm not
Hmm.
gonna lie, you see it coming, bro. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how you don't live in today's society and not know from the trailer what it's gonna be, and
Right.
that's why I was so impressed by it.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's I do think to some extent it maybe hurts itself a little bit in the marketing. I wonder if
Mm-hmm.
she had a vision of marketing this as like this
She
is a
did.
fun island getaway movie and like this is a comedy almost for summer because it is a very funny movie too.
Hilarious.
But like the less that the rug pull actually feels like a rug being pulled out from under you, I feel like the impact gets blunted a little bit. So
Mm.
maybe that's like the ceiling that I'm bumping up against and why like it doesn't ultimately like rise to the level of a movie like Get Out. But
For
I
sure, and
do
I
think
agree with you there.
yeah. But I do think it is pretty satisfying, and ultimately, like the main thing I took away from it is that Zoe has like a clear vision. We've seen a lot of
She does.
actors who take a turn behind the camera and you see varying levels of assertive vision, right? Like not everybody has a clear voice in terms of
Mm-hmm.
what they're trying to bring to a movie, and I think you can really feel that the energy that she brings to I think a lot of her acting roles, to her interviews too. Like there's a sort of like sly nature to it. It's a little bit cutting but knowing and cool but funny. It really comes across here.
You could tell she's a big film fan too. A lot of the interviews with Channing, they call him Chan, by the way. It's been all about her being like 4 movies a day, and I'm like, whoa, we got a 4 movie a day here. Beautiful. Like, they don't go hiking, they don't do anything but watch film after film. She's one of those TCM girls, and I think it showcases a lot. I think it's fun to pick apart a lot of the references within it. I think she got a really good cast and plays up with them. The lead playing Frida is Naomi Aki, and she's almost like a stand-in for Zoe,
Yeah.
and the way that she's able to, I mean, again, wanting to be with Channing as she's also with Channing. I thought the emotions that they have her ride are really interesting because there's a lot of layers to her character that had me questioning on my first watch. Like, really, this is where we went with her? And then the
Hmm.
second watch, I was like, really, this is where we went with her. I like the emotions that they carried with her and how she played with it. It was a little Ingrid Goes West in her attempt to want to go to the island.
Right. Right.
Um, yeah, I don't know if you
Good
had any thoughts
comparison.
on her, but I also want to talk about Channing's speech at the end because
Yeah.
that man just got lines after lines this year.
Well, I thought Aki was phenomenal in the role. Like there's just like a curious energy that she brings to it because it's not a kind of cookie cutter perfect heroine. She has these sort of like narcissistic, selfish elements to
Hell
her that
yeah.
make her a little more complicated and more
Yep.
fun, particularly as the movie goes along. So I really enjoyed her performance. I thought Channing was a huge standout. I mean, he's a actor who I've always really enjoyed, and even though he feels like he has a limited range, he always seems to find new shades to it, right? Like
Hmm.
he is a little more versatile than I think people give him credit for, and
That's true.
here he's really able to kind of play against type and use his charming nature as a kind of, seductive, uh stealth, knife in the back, and
Yeah.
I think it works really well.
Shout out Audria. Fantastic, bro. If she wasn't
Yeah,
already killing it with Hitman, she comes in here and
having
is
a
a
phenomenal
complete,
year.
yeah, badass in this. Simon Rex, my man playing Simon Rex,
Yeah, but I
it's
love
always
to
the
see
same
it.
thing.
I'm
I
happy
love to
he's
see it, of
around.
course. I have realized because I saw another movie called Greedy People. I don't know if you heard of that one. It's like this
Yeah,
little thriller that's out there.
Casey Affleck.
Dude, you are just like me. I keep saying Casey Affleck. What is it? We both have the same thing. It's not Casey Affleck.
Oh, is it not?
It's no, dude. What is in our water? Because I have the exact same thing. He's in a movie called Slingshot. But I've been telling Alina, I was like, yo, let's watch the Casey Affleck movie. She's like, it's Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Oh yeah, dude, that is the most Casey Affleck-ish that Joseph Gordon-Levitt's ever looked.
Okay, so hey, thank you, bro. I'm not the only one that at
Oh, but
least I
it's
feel
my man Himesh Patel though in it too,
yeah,
from
and
Station
they're both
11.
great. Yeah, we'll talk about that one soon. But he makes an appearance there, Simon Rex. It's got to be in his contract for him to show his abs, bro. It just has to be. Um,
I mean, if he's gonna work on him, he's got to flaunt him, right?
what was his rap name? Do you remember? Like something Pete?
Dirt Nasty.
Dirt Nasty. I just got the interview that he did with Tupac because they brought it up during the
Oh my
press run.
God.
Have you
Oh,
ever seen
man.
it? He is
Yeah, because
stoned
he
out
used
of
to
his mind.
be TRL or something like, or just
MTV.
MTV.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And, and he interviewed him, just stoned as could be, staring at the ground. And Tupac just makes fun of him. Funny stuff.
Uh,
Aaliyah Shawkat, just
my girl.
fantastic in the movie. Great in the movie.
She has such an interesting career too. Like she
Yeah.
finds her way into these really curious projects, and just has this really like dynamic energy. The only one other small thing I could say against this movie is that like she's so interesting in the energy she brings that I almost feel like her absence when she's gone.
Yeah. And that's also like, and you see that in the trailer. That is a part of it. You're supposed to
Yeah,
feel it, but I was like, I almost felt a little too much. I agree with you. There's been
yeah,
movies where they just take a character, and it's always a supporting character that you really
yeah.
like, and then they're gone. And you're right about her filmography. I pulled it up, right? Obviously, you know her from Arrested Development. But like Green Room, for whatever reason, incredible movie, but
Yeah.
not the first I think of. And I'm like, bro, you have an insane career. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, the
Even
roles
just
that she
showing
takes are
up in like
fantastic.
the first couple seconds of First Cow, like what's going on
Yeah,
there?
it's fantastic. She takes really good roles, and
Mhm.
she's definitely really a standout in this one. I think she really elevates the story. Uh, Haley Joel Osment, I think, was an interesting take, along
Mhm.
with Christian Slater, just them using each other as or using them as a sort of conduit of like, these guys. Do you see them as threats?
Right, right.
Or are they someone who can lure you to an island, bro? We got another one. Maya Hawke's brother's in this movie.
Oh, that's who that is?
I kept looking at him and I knew something was up. Yeah, the son of
Uma Thurman.
Uma Thurman and Ethan Hawke looks just like him too, bro.
Yeah,
I was wondering. I
damn.
was like, man, he stands out a lot. Got another one in there, so him and Maya should probably be in a movie together.
Yeah,
Um,
probably
and then other than
only a
that,
matter of time.
yeah. See what other performances are here. Junior Davis, I thought was really good.
Yeah,
And Kyle MacLachlan. I want to talk more about them, but it definitely gets into spoilers, especially dealing with
hmm
them. But overall, I thought it was a strong cast, really good production. It makes me excited for what she's going to do next. Obviously, she's
definitely.
someone who's got a lot of help. She's been in the industry for the longest time. She's got family in the industry. The producer is this massive producer who's her godfather. Like, when you've got all that going for you, I hate to compare it to the Smiths, all things considering, but it's like Jaden and Willow Smith. They've got everything going for them, and I like to see the art that they're able to create when you have all of that at your disposal. I like Blink Twice. I thought it was pretty decent, and I would recommend it. And I think it's going to be out on VOD very soon. So once it's out on there, I'm excited to go back and pick up all the little clues that she leaves in there and all the movie references.
For
Blink
sure, for sure.
Twice.
Yeah. Oh,
See what else
do
we
we
got.
want to we rate this on our Intercut letterbox? I forgot to do
Shoot,
that for the Crow.
what'd you
You went
fall?
for 3.5.
I
I
went three
think
and a half.
I'm
I'm
between
even at a
three and a
heart
half
right
and a.
now.
Oh, geez. Okay, so let's maybe go for a straight 3.5 then.
What'd you give it?
I'm kind of between a 3 and a 3.5.
Let me see if I can get you. At the beginning of the movie, do you remember Slater King's reasoning for leaving to the island? He's got like that whole bit where he's like making fun of every apology video. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry, right? He's like, I just want to go get chickens. I just wanted an island. I just wanted to smell the flowers. I'm telling you, rewatch it. Three and a half, baby.
All right, let's put that 3.5 on there, uh, on the Intercut letterbox. And then the Crow. Are we 2.5 on that?
What'd you give it?
I think I'm at 2.5.
I went straight three. I'll go with two and a half, bro.
Cool, cool. All right, and a reminder that you can check out our letterbox lists on the Intercut Pod letterboxed, where we compile every movie that we talk about on these weekend must watch to catch up with whatever films we're discussing, including some of the references. I'll throw Get Out and Don't Worry, Darling on that list as well.
Beautiful. This next one, though. Did you get to see it on film?
No, I wish.
I wish too, because it looked beautiful. I go home and see the
Mm-hmm.
trailer, and my theater did not do it justice. There is this new little movie called Strange Darling that has been getting so much hype. Are you a true cinephile if you haven't seen this movie? It is. It comes from J.T. Molnar, who had done a little Sundance movie before we started doing our stints over in Utah,
Mm-hmm.
and it's got a really good cast. In particular, our boy, our little indie darling, who's been honestly kind of like a horror prince. If we're being
Mm-hmm.
honest, he's fantastic in Smile. It's one of the better parts in the Scream remake. I did not even realize. Like, I knew he was in Nightmare on Elm Street, but people kept bringing him up in Red Eye, and I'm like, whoa, bro, that is an underrated hit. Then you have
Mm-hmm.
all the new stuff he's been doing, from The Passenger. Obviously, this one's Strange Darling. He's gonna be in Smile too. There's another one over here that I really like. What Comes Around, I think is it's got a really good twist with it. I was excited for this one because I heard you're supposed to go in not knowing anything. I'm not gonna lie, kind of like Blink Twice. If you see the trailer, I do think it kind of leads on a little bit, but it definitely is a ride because it's presented to you in chapters, but
Mm-hmm.
they're not in order. Zach, what do
Mm-hmm.
you think of Strange Darling?
I thought it was really curious and interesting, and just drew me in, right? Because I think the one line plot description of this movie is not necessarily like a particularly standout idea, right? Like, this is in some ways feels like it's like sort of a standard, uh,
Mm-hmm.
cat and mouse killer movie, but it's in some of that like subversive nature, that altering of the timeline, just some of the choices they make with their characters too, that this becomes a bit more curious, a bit darker, and funnier in some spots too. I thought this was a really interesting take on this style of film.
Yeah, there is a little bit of a, I don't want to call it too much of a gimmick, but I feel like if you don't have the way that it tells a story, it's definitely going to be way more straightforward, way more boring.
Hmm.
And it's one of those where, to me, a gimmick isn't something that's for the character, it's something that's for the audience. And it's
Right.
definitely for the audience. I know the writer director had said that he specifically wrote it in that manner. And he knew that there was no way he was going to tell it straightforward. And I've seen some people give it some pushback. They think the messaging in it is maybe not the best,
Hmm.
or it questions, things that we have in society today. Man, I would hate to rob this actress of the incredible performance she gives in this movie
Hmm.
just because of whatever checkmark she needs to get out there. She kills it in this movie. I
Yeah.
thought the nuances in her performance, the way that they capture her, especially it being shot on film, which we'll break down more as well. Um, she kills it with this. I thought she was good from beginning to end through the credits, if we're being honest. Um, I know she has been in some other stuff, but to me, this is what's going to catapult her to the next level. Our boy's good in this as well. Don't get it wrong. But there is elements in her performance where, again, going with the way that it's told, I felt she was doing some things that were just for the audience, and even then, I was still entranced with what she was doing, going from scene to scene, chapter to chapter. I thought it was a standout. There is the aspect of it as well. We've mentioned it when we brought up the movie that it is completely shot on film, 35 millimeter, by the one and only. You know, you think cinematography? Of course, you think
Giovanni
Ribisi.
Ribisi, classic cinematographer.
The movie starts by letting you know this is shot on 35.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay. I hear him talk about it, and he mentions, you know, you always put directed by because you want to know, okay, this is my movie. If you like it, come see more of this. They were like, film is dying. And if for whatever reason you watch this movie and you're like, wow, that looked different, I really liked it, then just like you would put a director stamp at the beginning, we wanted to let you know this is shot on 35. And we worked with Kodak, one of the last surviving film producing companies out there. And we wanted you to know, seek out more movies that are shot on film. And then you and I both saw it digitally. But I was hoping that they would have. I haven't checked. I didn't see it at the music box, but there is a difference seeing a movie that is shot on film projected digitally to a filmed movie on film projected on film. Like you're just going there's going to be a difference there. So I feel like I still haven't fully watched the movie for its so nerdy here, but the living, breathing quality, you know, the chemicals on the screen, all that stuff. Because it definitely approaches it in that way. I'll be honest though, film's tricky. My man went soft on a lot of shots too, but it almost brings a little charm to it, you know.
Yeah,
I overall liked it. It had a lot to it.
yeah. I mean, it's got this like really stylistic nature to it, right? He's not just going for like your standard sort of chase or killer scenes, and I did kind of like the muted look of it. I thought it just gives it a little bit more intrigue, but yeah, I mean, it's just like I think this is like a really well-paced animal. There's moments where it slows down and gives you like a long dialogue between them. There's moments where it'll ramp up the action and be very wordless and force you to like, you know, read the characters' intentions off of their actions rather than words. And it just sort of keeps you on edge in the way that I think you're looking for in this kind of movie. So I thought it was really well crafted, and I can, you know, I can see maybe some people having some pushback on elements of it, but I dug it. I mostly dug this one.
Yeah. Very
For
good.
me, this is a 3.5.
All right, perfect. Doubling it up right there at 3.5 on the Intercut podcast score. But I'm giving a -2 on that breakfast. Well, that breakfast was disgusting. I almost had a heart attack seeing them eat that, bro. That was rough. That was the horror part of the movie for sure. Bad stuff right there.
Mm-hmm.
But Strange Darling in theaters. It's been getting really good reviews. I even saw Fede tweet about it as well.
Right? Kid
So
Cudi,
definitely
but
one
out of
to go
movie
check.
theater to let people
That's
see
right.
it.
Yeah, he did. So it's a good one to check out right there. Tunet also mentioned Dinner in America. I didn't bring it up because it wasn't a horror movie, but yeah. And Amanda, the biggest campaigner behind that film. He's also fantastic there. He's just honestly one of the best actors that we have working today in the underground scene. I think after he got burnt out with Nightmare on Elm Street, he's like, yeah, I'm just gonna stick to like 20 indies a year.
Right.
He releases so much stuff, but he's always good. He's solid. I have not seen a bad performance from him yet. So, shout out Gallagher. Gallner? I always get his name wrong too, which is
Kyle Gallner.
it's terrible. I always think there's like an extra Gallagher in there or something. But shout out to them. Strange Darling in theaters now. If you're able to catch it on film, let us know what you thought about it. I did not get to catch this next one on film, but if I did, it probably would have been Haunted. There is a new Netflix movie that did play in theaters, so it's technically just on there as a borrow. It did not do well in theaters, but this thing has shot up to be the #1 movie on Netflix. Zach, did you know anything about this movie? What were your thoughts at the end of The Deliverance?
I didn't anticipate this one. Like it wasn't on my radar per se. However, if you're a person who is on social media this weekend, it was hard to avoid this film. So it definitely got on my radar quick. And as you mentioned, it became the #1 movie on Netflix, deplacing our favorite movie of the summer, Mark Wahlberg and Halle Berry in The Union.
No,
How
that's what it was
dare they?
called.
Yeah. But I also learned pretty quickly that this is the new film from Lee Daniels, a
Hmm.
filmmaker of some renown who I think kind of got on everyone's radar with the Sundance and later Oscars hit Precious. Has done some other films in between then, like The Butler, that the United States versus
Hey,
Billie
hey, hey,
Holiday
hey. Lee
movie.
Daniels, the butler.
Excuse me, Lee Daniels,
Lee
The
Daniels.
Butler, and I
Thank you, thank you.
also should have mentioned it's Push based on the novel, or Precious based on the novel Push by
Push.
Sapphire.
Thank you,
My
bro.
mistake with both of
And
those.
Paperboy. I always forget.
Well,
Always
that's
forget.
the movie I really wanted to highlight here because I think this is the movie that's most close to Deliverance. It's not, a Oscar play or a biopic or a treacly story about, the trauma of the Black experience or anything like that. This is a campy comedy with actors fully leaning into absolutely ridiculous performances. I mean, my main memory of The Paperboy is Nicole Kidman screaming, "If anybody's gonna piss on him, it's me," about Zac Efron. This is a "if anybody's gonna piss on him, it's me" style movie, as evidenced by Glenn Close saying the line about pussy that's been going around, which I think, in this movie's credit, is exactly what it's going for.
I heard him talk about it. I think this man thinks it's serious, bro. That's the worst part. Which is why I agree with you with the camp because,
Yeah.
and we all had different interpretations of it. But like, I feel camp is when someone's trying. They went left. And we're having a good time with it,
Right.
but not for the reasons they intended. This is based off a true story, like you mentioned. There was
Mhm.
a documentary called Demon House that kind of covered the haunted house that was in Gary, Indiana, where a mother was not paying rent, was having her kids show up with bruises, and said that, yo, there is a demon in this house. The priest came in and said, yo, there is a portal in your basement that leads to hell. The cops came in and said, we don't even want to go in there. The nurses said that they saw, what you see a little bit in the trailer, they saw the kids do some really weird things. And even the child services officer jotted down that all of the events that she said were true. I don't know all about that, but he made this movie as a believe women movie, and he believed women. If this woman said it was a flat Earth, he would have shown you a flat Earth. He goes all the way through it, and that's where I definitely think it enters the goofy mode of it because this is a film where it's not playing it like The Omen, where it leaves
Mhm.
it up to you. It's not playing it like even The Case, where you have to decipher what the clues are. No,
Right.
it is going there, and I think it may have tipped his head a little too much.
Yeah, I mean, it's you talk about the whole idea of like he's viewing this as a serious movie, and it is a movie that is like rooted in, I guess, serious ideas. It's about a single mother who is struggling to raise her family and dealing
Hmm.
with, as you mentioned, with child protective services and sort of the intersection of all these elements and family history, personal demons that she's going through, literal demons that are haunting her house, and I think, like, for any camp movie to work, there has to be a root in something serious, right? Because
Yes, sir.
it's sort of in the way that it's in that attempt to take itself seriously, at the attempt to sort of put a actual message out there, and in the strangeness of its delivery, where the joy in movies like this come out. And like, you can tell that this is a movie that, like, there is some earnestness there, but
I like the message. Yeah.
I do think Lee Daniels knows a lot of the stuff is funny. I don't think you write some of these lines without knowing that they're funny. I think he thinks it's serious too, but like, this was a hilarious movie. It's not
It
scary in the least, but I laughed out
no.
loud a lot.
It's
Doesn't
one of
mean I
those
think
that's
it
so
was
bad is good.
yeah, that's the thing. I don't think that means this movie is good, but it certainly is entertaining.
Yeah. The performances aren't bad either.
Yeah.
But they're like the most embarrassing things to be in also, right? It's all over the place, and that's what made it intriguing. I think it's almost pushing 2 hours, and I was technically never bored
Yeah.
at any point of it.
I wasn't trying to turn it
Besides,
off.
yeah, Glenn Close coming in and having her in those ripped up jeans, I thought was the funniest thing possible after her being already in Hillbilly Elegy. She's playing like the reverse of that grandma
Yeah.
in this movie.
Low
I
key
thought
better
Andra
here than
Day-
in Hillbilly Elegy, for what
Oh,
it's
for
worth.
sure. Oh, come on. She didn't say the line. Billy Elegy like she did in this one.
Yeah, no bad Terminators in this movie.
No, Andra Day, I thought was good. I think she's a good actress, bro.
Yeah.
I thought she was pretty good in Billie Holiday, which, correct me if I'm wrong, did she win the Globe for this?
Yes, I believe the Globe. At least nominated, but might have won.
Yeah. And this was Lee Daniels also. And then it's also him, in a movie about forgiveness and all that. How could you not rekindle the stuff that you had going on? Oh, my God. Monique returning. At a certain point, they said this was supposed to be Octavia Spencer.
Oh.
And I think losing Octavia Spencer was part of the tone going wild. Octavia Spencer knows how to handle that. I'm talking about
Yeah,
Ma. Like,
yeah.
she would have killed that.
Right.
I'm glad they fixed their relationship because, got
Yeah.
her the Oscar in Precious.
That was a notoriously rocky relationship in the years
Yeah.
following Precious.
It was pretty bad.
Yeah.
But it was interesting because I did not realize how much bigger of a producer he is because obviously he has done the show Empire. He's done a bunch of different things. Bro, he was producer in Monsters Ball. And so he's kind of like he was there to
Been
usher
around.
Halle Berry her Oscar. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and then Concrete Cowboy, which also stars Caleb from Stranger Things in there. So there's a lot of elements behind the scenes where you see this man being a powerhouse. Obviously,
Yeah.
he is up. I've been hearing the comparisons to Kenya and Tyler Perry. I'm curious how you would rank these fellows as a lot of people have been seeing them as like the camp of the culture.
Mm-hmm.
I would say out of the three of them, the most successful has clearly been Tyler Perry, and he's probably at the bottom of the list.
Right.
I don't know where I would put Kenya and Lee. I feel like they swap around. Movie wise, it's Lee.
Yeah.
But I think what's his name's had the bigger show.
Yeah.
Shows.
If you're telling me, oh, there's a new something from Kenya Barris or there's a new something from Lee Daniels, I think I'm maybe a bit more excited for the Lee Daniels one.
Yeah.
But
Same.
It's marginal.
But even then, even with the Deliverance not being up to Precious, which he was kind of approaching this as a Precious 2.0, it has some of the most bonkers scenes that I'm going to be remembering for the rest of the year. Someone had
Yeah.
reminded me that the only thing that compares to that scene is in The Exorcism, the new one,
Mhm.
with Russell Crowe, not to be
Right.
confused with the Pope's Exorcist. He also has a similar line with his daughter. So something's in the water as well for these exorcism movies. But remember, this isn't an exorcism. This is a deliverance. All right. I'm plugging it in at 2.5. What do you got it at?
I'll go 2.5. Like I said, I had fun watching it. It's not good, but I wasn't bored.
But it's entertaining, right?
yeah.
And that's the difference in there between the ratings and what entertains you. It's out on Netflix. It's at #1, and yeah, go watch it. It's a ride. It's a ride for sure. Let's see what else we got out here. I know one of the biggest ones. Oh, did you want me to put the Lee Daniels Twitter bit?
No, it just sort of he had retweeted the clip of Glenn Close and said had to do it. So there's just a little bit of like acknowledging that he knows what it is, I guess.
You've seen the backlash though of her casting?
Yeah, and he's sort of talked about how the movie is in a way about how women like Glenn Close's character are a fabric of the Black community, which I know a lot of people push back on.
Set them off.
Yeah.
That was a big one though. I have met some of these ladies for sure, bro. They are definitely out there.
Yeah, they're a thing.
They're a thing for sure. Being the fabric,
Yeah,
I probably
maybe-
would have phrased that a little differently. Yeah.
Exactly.
Dude, and Ingenue Ellis, bro. You know what? We're not done with this movie, actually. What is Ingenue Ellis doing in this movie, bro?
If y'all had seen Origin, maybe she wouldn't be.
Nah. You know what's crazy? Ingenue. Andra, go watch Exhibiting Forgiveness, bro. It is the non-spooky version
Yes.
of this movie with the themes actually firing on all cylinders. So if there was one movie I can tell you right now, it's definitely. But I don't even rated this one. I might go 4.5 on this bad boy. I love this one. Ooh. I'm gonna rewatch it. So I get
Yeah.
my solidified one. But like I'm this one's a 4.5 for me.
Yeah.
This is.
I think
up
Exhibiting Forgiveness dropped a trailer recently too.
there. It didn't just drop a trailer. It dropped one of the sexiest posters I had seen in a while, bro. They don't even have it up here yet. Oh man, I gotta pull this up. Let me see if I can find it in a bit. But Exhibiting Forgiveness, I think, is on the horizon to being released, and I highly recommend it. Man, where is this poster? They combined every. There we go. Here we go. Bro, they combined the still of them, the backdrop of the painting with the cut. I like, this is one I need.
Mm.
This is the one I need, bro. I need to sneak out just like I did with the Holdovers poster. I
Yeah.
need this one so bad. It is a fantastic movie. Please put this one on your radar. We're definitely going to add this one to the list of our rundown. But let us know your thoughts on the Deliverance. Did you catch it in theaters? Did you catch it on Netflix? And what is the goofiest line of the year so far? I don't know if you have any other contenders, but this is my lock so far, dude.
Yeah, not off the top of my head.
All right, moving on to another movie that is a remake. Take it away with Peacock's The Killer.
Yeah, this is a pretty curious specimen of sorts because this is a film directed by John Woo, remaking perhaps his most well-known or most beloved film, either this or Hard Boiled, probably, right?
Hard boiled for sure.
1989's The Killer uh, is now transplanted to a new setting, a new set of characters, and it goes direct to Peacock, which is a little bit unbecoming, I think, for John Woo. But the man hasn't been making like a lot of movies, especially not English language movies recently. That all being said, I don't know. I didn't really mind this one too much. I mean, it's certainly not
Mhm.
like the best movie, and it's nowhere near the level of the original. But I thought it was like a mildly satisfying action movie. This is a film about uh, Z, who's a contract killer played by Natalie Emmanuel, who you may remember from Game of Thrones as Melisandre. Is it Melisandre, or am I mixing
I
up?
think so.
Yeah, um, Daenerys's like assistant lady.
Yeah,
Um,
she was awesome.
yeah, and
Fast and
basically,
Furious.
right. And basically, what happens when Z refuses to murder a young blind woman who she's been contracted to kill, and the fallout for that. Essentially, it was one of these movies where like the might of the agency that sends the contract killer out then turns on the contract killer, which is sort of a very classic kind of action movie setup. And there's ma- somewhat competently filmed action in here.
Okay.
It's certainly
Still the boy,
nothing
right?
that yeah, it's still the boy. It's certainly nothing that rises to the level of the original, but he still's got them doves flying around them churches. I don't know. I thought it was okay. It's still not a. I wouldn't exactly recommend it. I wouldn't say it's good, but I similarly wasn't that bored with it. It maybe goes on a bit too long, but I wasn't
Dude,
that upset by it.
it had a dude 126. That's a little too long, bro.
Yeah, it goes on too long.
That's a
You're right.
little
It
too
goes on
long.
too long.
Alina had caught this one while I was editing Trap. I look up and I see a stunt happen from a second floor involving a flag. And a
Mhm.
little bit more, I look up, I see the same stunt happening again with another character. I'm like, okay. It sounds like he was having fun with it, and she
Yeah,
looked pretty badass in it too. So
yeah.
I'm gonna definitely check it out and
Our guy Omar
keep this
Sy
in
is
mind.
pretty good in it. Sam Worthington's honestly a little bit fun.
That's cool. All right,
Yeah.
what'd you plug it in so far? I'll probably have to get mine next week, but you
Yeah,
going
I'll go 2.5 with this one.
2.5? You said you saw the original?
Yeah, but not for a long time actually.
That one's higher, I assume.
Yeah, that's a 4-star for me.
All right, for sure. I'm curious to see what else he's got because this man is definitely like he is not slowing down. Last year he had
Hmm.
Silent Night. I don't know if you saw this one that he had with what's his name, Joel Kinnaman.
Yeah, I
This
didn't see
dude's
it.
got. It's okay. Like honestly, you could just watch it on mute. The story is dumb as can be, but he's got some good action flair in there. I'm trying to find this next one that he's got coming up. He is literally remaking this movie again. I want it. No, that's too old. It is yet another movie, but I think he couldn't hear in Silent Night. Oh no, he
Yeah,
couldn't speak.
or couldn't speak. He was mute.
Right. So I don't know where this next one is, but he's got another one in this time. This time, Silent Hour. This time he cannot talk, or he cannot hear.
Ah,
So my man's going through all the senses.
yeah. Next one, he can't smell. The killer who can't sense.
In 40X
Sniff
coming
out
out
the
very
killer.
soon.
Yeah.
The Killer out on Peacock. I don't think this got a theatrical release, but hey, for 2 hours at least you can play it there.
Yeah.
In the comfort of your own home. Another one
Speaking of
that you can
movies
catch
that didn't
at
get
the
the
comfort of your own
theatrical
home.
release, yeah.
All right, bro. I have some thoughts on this one.
Hit
Because
me
I
up,
thought
man.
it was cute, bro. I thought it
Yeah.
was cute. This is a movie based off of the book, also titled "The Supremes" at Earls All You Can Eat. That is not about the Supremes,
I
but
know. I
it's
was
about
expecting some
a
Diana
trio.
Ross.
Bro, they're not going to clear that. They couldn't clear it in theaters. How are they going to clear that for the movie? It is one of those though where it would have benefited from it for sure. But I thought it was a very strong cast, and it's definitely one of those like throwback, almost early 2000s, maybe 90s movies where it's just like a heartfelt movie going through the ages of
Yeah.
these friends who have followed through. They cast them as three young actresses, and then they got powerhouses as them playing the leads once they're older. And it really is a love story where it's friendship at its core and how they're always there for
Hmm.
each other. And it's melodramatic at times, but it worked for
Yeah.
me. I thought it was good.
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes we use melodrama as an insult, but this is like literally is a melodrama. It is about
Yep.
sort of the ups and downs of their life. It's about getting older and dealing with your
Mm.
mortality and dealing with the obstacles that life throws in your way. And it is very sort of like well-meaning and earnest. I feel like it's the kind of movie that like your relative will tell you, you know what I watched that was really nice. It's a movie like this one, and there's not a lot that I can like complain about with it. Like I think it's not necessarily the most involving. I wasn't like on the edge of my seat wondering what was about to happen. But like it's competently made and it's well acted. You know, we just shouted out Anjanou Ellis. Can shout her out again here,
Again.
along with Sanaa Lathan and Uzo Aduba, a couple favorites. I don't know. I mean, to me, a lot of the movies we got this week are like well-meaning and solid two and a halves where I don't necessarily think they're good, but I don't have a lot of a huge problem with any of them either. And you know,
Hmm.
I feel like this is like especially like if you resonate with the period or the characters here, if you feel like a connection to this world, I could imagine getting some more out of this than I did.
Yeah. Again, I haven't read the book, but I did find it to be pretty cute. I did see your boy, bro.
Wait, which boy? Because I got a couple boys in this movie.
Can you guess what boy I could be talking about?
What boy? What boy? So I'm guessing it's not Russell Hornsby, who's been my guy since he was on ESPN's Playmakers. I don't know if you ever watched
Russell Hornsby over here.
that foot like
Oh
the
yeah, no, he's
drama of a
fantastic at it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
football team show that he was in.
No, I never saw that one. Not him.
Who are you talking about?
I'm not even talking about who else is in this movie.
It's no
Uh,
Mackay Pfeiffer.
I'm not even talking about Mekhi Phifer either, because I'm not even talking about the movie, bro. Tell me why your boy, your boy
Oh,
Brett
Brett.
said, if it isn't about the Supremes, then why would I watch a movie about the Supremes?
It is a
Hey, my,
little bit weird.
hey, my man got a podcast called Me and Roger with Roger.
Maybe you got to comment that. Yeah, good
Well,
point.
no, I don't know him like that, and I'm not trying to slight him. I just found it funny, bro. I know he's your boy.
It's a good point. It's a good point. Shout out, Brett.
I just thought that was funny.
it is funny.
I gotta call that out. I'm sorry, but hey, yeah,
Yeah.
he's got some good reviews here and there, and I kind of agree with him. It is close to a 3, but I don't know. I felt like it was the same thing. I've seen plenty of movies where they don't technically include the title character, but it still becomes part of the process of it. But I think you got it down. This is that movie that at Thanksgiving when everyone's gathered together, it's like, did you see that? And it's dude, the perfect one to put in the background.
Yeah.
When the drama comes in, it's not so much that you got to turn away. You know, there's no one. Glenn Close ain't getting possessed and,
Yeah.
and talk about what she smells.
You don't have to like over explain the plot. You know, you can be like, oh,
Honestly.
she's his cousin or
Right?
whatever. Yeah.
You tune in and you know exactly what's happening. And I think
Yeah.
as a friendship movie, what it really breaks down is the idea that you always have there's elements and parts to friendships, and different people play different roles. And I love that about the
Yeah.
three friends. The one who was always there, like as the glue, sticking up for them. The one who was always swallowing her pain. The one who realized that things weren't an inconvenience because her friends were never an inconvenience to her. And I thought there was a lot of love in the movie, and I would recommend it if you got a streaming service. But we need our own Earls. All you can eat, bro. We need our own spot. So far, I'm trying to think of what the fresh market at Sundance,
Yeah. Where have we gotten the most meals together? It's probably there.
right? It's got to be.
Yeah.
No, we got one, but we just never really eat there. Red Iguana.
Oh yeah. We just take out all the time. But yeah, Red
The
Iguana's
Intercuts
the
at the
spot.
Red Iguana. That might be it. I think I'm liking it, bro. I'm plugging in at 3.5. What you got?
I'm 2.5, so I think we can put Intercut at 3.
You hated it? No, three's an even. Three's even. Three. That's fine.
Yeah.
The Supremes out on Hulu. I really thought this was going to go to theaters, and it did not. But again, it's also pushing 2 hours. That probably would have been tough.
I mean, I really thought this was going to be a movie about Diana Ross, so we don't always get what we
Shut
expect.
up, bro. In no way. What is crazy though is Reagan got released in theaters.
Yeah.
I don't know what money's that's doing. You went, right?
I mean, classic. You know, I'm always down to support conservative presidents and their biopics.
Did you see it?
No, I have not seen
Bro.
Jack Quaid's dad.
All I'm gonna say is there's an after credits.
Yeah,
movie that
what's
was
up
not
with that? Are they assembling the right wing Avengers?
That would have been funny. No, it's actually really cute, bro. I hate to say it. It's actually adorable. I don't know if it's a spoiler, but it has to do with something that happens in the movie. He leaves a letter, and it's the actual letter left back to him by the kid.
Yeah.
I don't know, bro, the propaganda, but it was adorable. It's a goofy movie. They will literally, they play the line straight down the middle where this man will be like, tear down the wall. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure y'all want to build a wall. Man's over there creating protests, flipping cars over on the WB lot going, wait, this is what you're for? I know you stood for this. One guy walked out at our screening. So, hey, it's definitely Republican, but there's some, I guess, liberalness, too much liberalness in there that some people were leaving. They did not think it was, I guess, as much propaganda as they wanted it to be, but I just found it hilarious. I go home and I realize it's the guy who made the Even Stevens movie.
And the Bratz movie. Also,
When
one of
Casper
Caitlin's
met
favorites,
Wendy.
Raise Your Voice, with
Which one?
Hilary Duff. The third one there?
Nah, bro,
Fourth
you
one?
said that too quick. Stop, you said that too quick.
You act like I haven't had a discussion about this movie in the last month with my girlfriend.
What was this?
Was this direct to Disney? I want to say that it did have a theatrical release, but I just remember it being heavily advertised in the Lizzie McGuire days on Disney Channel.
You realize what it's like to be an Intercut subscriber? Scrolling through our letterbox, talk about The Brutalist, TIFF, this week's movies, and then coming across Raise Your
All
Voice.
on one playlist.
Hell yeah. Hey, you can't get that anywhere else. And you can't get Reagan anywhere else. It is out in theaters. If you're curious, it is way too long. Wait till it gets home. There is a lot of memeable material in this. A lot of good Nancy Reagan jokes in this. And more than anything, the funniest part is he does address some of the bad stuff. He goes, anyway, next scene.
So not,
Hey, yo.
not like the best as far as like presidential biopics are concerned, but I don't know.
No, don't get it twisted, bro.
Yeah.
Like, movie? No. But it depends what the estate wanted. And I too would go, AIDS? That was rough. Anyways, Gorbovich. Damn, bro, this movie had me on Wikipedia reading about the Iran Contra. I'm like, nah, bro, y'all passed through a lot of this.
Yeah, y'all maybe should have added that in the after credits.
Look, Dennis Quaid seemed very happy making this movie. I will say
bet.
that. He has not been this happy in a while. So, I don't know what they got David Henry to be the younger version of him, but I assume his son, as we've seen online, he's not up there. He's not up there to do that. But eventually, bro, that would be really cool. Just like the Monarch one. What's some faces? Playing father's son, or they didn't even play father's son. I think they played a younger version of each other.
Was that
Russell?
Yeah, the Russells, Wyatt Russell
Thank you.
and other Russell, who I'm forgetting. Off the
Yeah,
top
bro,
of my
y'all
head.
gotta come and make magic. The Quaids. I didn't even. Did you know there's a third Quaid?
Is there?
You're not even gonna believe this, bro.
Kurt Russell, my bad.
There is a third Quaid that's on the run.
Oh
Man's
wait,
name
is
Randy
like
Quaid.
oh man, I forgot about Randy Quaid.
Then please tell me, because I was searching this guy up like I was searching up Oppenheimer, Nolan's long lost hitman brother.
Yeah.
This man's on the run?
I mean, for a while, Randy Quaid was like a reliable character actor. Like he's in Kingpin, he's in Independence Day. And then at some point, he seems to have gone down the rabbit hole of conspiracy theories and right wing beliefs and
He couldn't hold it like his brother.
yeah. I don't know, but
I mean, he
I
looks
feel
different.
the facial hair speaks volumes in that one.
Woo. Yeah, I was reading up on him, and supposedly, like, he didn't get deported. He like ran away to Canada,
Yeah.
and I think they kicked him out of Canada. I don't even know, dude. It was an insane story. I was more intrigued with that in the middle of Reagan while he was trying to do some talks. I was like, bro, this needs a story.
Academy Award nominee.
4?
The Last Detail.
Okay, all right,
Oh.
fascinating. All right. Reagan out in theaters. Let's see some of the other ones that are out. Did you? Let's see, because I think the last thing that we have is the special and an older movie. Did you get to catch 1992?
No, tell me about it.
I'll keep it brief. It is the Death Row Pictures first movie, and it's pretty much a heist thriller. If you like Den of Thieves, you got that bad boy right there. Did you get to see Afraid?
No, I did not. Although I was intrigued to learn that my girl Catherine Waterstone is in this one.
Bro, I hate that her and John Cho are really good because this movie's not that great. It's covering AI as being bad and not really saying, it's not saying anything different at all, bro. What else we got? Let's see. Did you see Incoming on Netflix?
No, tell me about it.
It's a comedy. Did you see Milk and Cereal?
No, tell me about that one.
It's a horror.
You said it's on YouTube?
It's on YouTube.com.
I mean, there's a lot of things on YouTube that have been called milk and cereal, but this one is spelled cereal like serial killer.
Yeah.
So there's some horror, I'm assuming. in there.
Slingshot?
Is this the one with Casey Affleck?
This is the one with Casey Affleck.
Okay. No, I haven't
You
seen
see it?
Slingshot. Nope.
Okay, this is the only one I haven't seen either. So I got to catch that one. But out of all the other ones, I think the last one would have been City of Dreams. I think I got the wrong City of Dreams on here, but this was another one that was out. I'm not even gonna search up what it is. It's a trafficking movie, kind of like the other Angel Studios one, and it has some pretty interesting producers on there. There's a long take, bro, in City of Dreams, where they're kidnapping kids to traffic them into clothing shops and stuff, sweatshops in LA. In Freaks and Geeks, the three friends.
What, Martin Starr and the director of Dungeons and Dragons?
Who's the third one?
Shoot. It's Sam Levine. Is that his name?
Yes, it's Sam Levine.
Oh my God. Is he like the trafficker?
He is the Jewish corporation above it all. And there is a long take where he is sent by his pops to go retrieve the kid. And out of nowhere, after being for an hour and a half in a grungy basement, he chases him in a winter throughout all of Los Angeles and somehow keeps up. For that alone, Zach, I need you to check out that scene. I didn't know he was in this movie. He just comes out to run a 400 meter dashes from every spot. It was ridiculous, bro. But
yeah. So are you saying this is like Sound of Freedom adjacent?
It's Sound of Freedom minus the Angel Studios. Tony Robbins
is that
the
better?
producer. Well, I never caught Sound of Freedom.
Yeah.
I caught this one because I needed something in between Reagan. And it was really depressing until you get the wonder. I'm like, all right, this is kind of cool. An interesting thing about it is Yalitza's producer from Roma. She hopped on there. Luis Fonsi, which is a really big Hispanic singer.
Right.
There's like a lot of people who are credited on this thing, which is kind of weird as producers. Like Tony Robbins.
Is this like a Spanish movie though?
Not even. The moment they kidnap him, they speak English. Diego Calva's in it.
Oh,
he's
Babylon
trafficked too. So I mean, it's an independent Sound of Freedom, if that makes sense. It ends with like blaming everybody, CNN, Fox, both sides of the aisle. It's just like, okay, what are we doing here? I guess I think I saved a child. I felt like you've seen that Key and Peele sketch they've been going around. Can I get money to save the children? Every dollar
Yeah.
helps, and he
Yeah.
gives $3, and he only takes out 3 kids from the van. That is this movie, I guess.
Nice.
I don't know how much more it said, but yeah, Diego's in it. If you're a Diego fan, check it out. He gets beat up in it. Other than that, I think that is all of the other stuff that was out in theaters. The last two that we have are some home releases, and I'll let you take it away with Adam Sandler. It's a new special because I only saw the beginning of it, and he was doing some different stuff with it.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty fun. He has released two. Well, this is the second comedy specials to Netflix recently. The last one, 100% Fresh, was pretty fun. Return to kind of like stand up for Adam, who a guy who hasn't done a lot of it in the past 20-30 years, but seems to have been reinvigorated in the last few. And I think the style is like even cleaner here. It's married with Josh Safdie, his Uncut Gems co-director, who directs this one as well, and particularly in the beginning, which is sort of like a play on the classic like comedian walks to the stage sequence in a lot of stand-up specials. They inject a lot of that like relentless chaos of something like Uncut Gems, but if it actually starred like Adam Sandler as himself rather than like a misanthrope gambler. I feel like it's a really fun moment, and it makes me want to see Adam continue to work with the Safdies because they just really bring a charm out of him. I love that sequence, but I also just really love this special, which I think is something that would appeal to people who were fans of some of Bo Burnham's work, because it's got a similar kind of like quick jokes, moving on to the next thing kind of energy. There's so many like songs that are only 30 seconds long and are basically transitions into his next series of jokes, but he's got this kind of like really extemporaneous style that makes it hard to tell like how much of this is planned, how much of this are you just reacting to in the moment.
You got the most rinky-dink place.
That's the thing, and like some of it feels like it's just sort of happening, but I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of it is actually like more meticulously planned than it appears, and it gives the whole special this really really loose style. He's kind of laughing at some of his own jokes, and it just sort of feels warm and inviting in a way that I really enjoyed. I really liked his one joke, like he's talking about how his father used to get out the belt, and he doesn't do that. He wears sweatpants. But
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, but there's a lot of good stuff in there, and it's also interesting because he now does this thing in both this special and the last one where there's like a ton of really funny stuff, and then he just sideswipes you at the end with this emotional, powerful song, and it just really worked for me. I'm enjoying this phase of Sandler's career, and Love You has just got this really great encapsulation of why I find him so funny. Lots of great voices, lots of silly impressions and sound effects, and just like a real irreverence.
All right. I'll make sure to finish it up. I didn't have enough time to catch it, but sounds good.
Yeah.
It was very interesting. I didn't even realize it was a Safdie. It was like it felt like it, and I was like, of course, why wouldn't it be?
Exactly. Not only the Safdies, I saw in the credits at the end, the director of photography was Bradford Young.
Stop,
the dude who shot Arrival in A Most Violent Year. Like I literally was on this podcast like a couple months ago asking where has this man been. He's been working with Adam Sandler and Josh Safdie.
That intro took a long time. Damn, bro. He's been doing a lot of like specials. He did the Donda stuff. Bro, that explains so much. The Donda visuals were insane. Now I know why.
There you go. Yeah, they had a really great dude behind the camera.
Nah, we need him on a feature, bro. We need him on a feature stat.
Come back, dude. Come back.
Damn.
Bradford, we miss you.
Oh, that's good. I'll make sure to check this one out. Streaming over on Netflix. I was busy watching the Kobayashi versus Joey Chestnut.
How was it?
Dog eating competition. It was funny. It was goofy. It's dumb. We really have no content, bro. Like, we got these guys stuffing hot dogs in their faces. But, hey, they stuck it to the man. Screw Nathan's.
Yeah. How dare they?
We could argue pizza, bro. We could argue pizza all you want, but y'all got nasty hot dogs with Nathan's. Bah! Vienna all the way, bro.
I'm curious,
Terrible.
like,
they did dirty.
how is the production of the event? Because I find sometimes Netflix will just like throw money at these things in a way that feels like outsized and almost diminishes the fun of it. Because like part of what makes the hot dog eating contest fun is it's just like a bunch of people on a stage. Like it's not in this big fancy studio with
Yeah.
a crane camera zooming around them.
Yeah. They did it in Las Vegas, so they kind of filled the audience to at least be split between their fans and family. But
Hmm.
they were doing like in between stuff. I think they got Stony, who is also another big hot dog eating contest guy.
Hmm.
He went up against Lochte, like Ryan Lochte, the swimmer, and two other Olympians. They collectively had to beat him in chicken wings.
Oh,
There's a girl who ate watermelon and was breaking the world record.
I didn't realize they were treating this like boxing and there was an undercard.
They had all this stuff happening outside, and that's where it looked terrible because it was just a
Hmm.
bunch of hot people in the pool. There was one point where they say she's gonna eat because it was like I don't know whatever grams, and
Hmm.
Rob Riggle, who was the host, they also split that too. It was Rob Riggle and then the WWE people, and they just kept coming out. Like there was one I'm forgetting her name, but she was the host and she was from WWE. Then Rey Mysterio comes out. And I was like, that's right, you guys have a deal
With
with WWE.
WWE.
So what you're
Gotta start
talking
promoting it.
about throwing money, yeah, it's this like weird
Yeah.
cross-platform thing.
Especially
But
they're trying to train people to tune in live because WWE will be live,
yeah, well, they're doing
I
better
believe.
with I guess the live production of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there were moments where Rob Riggle's like, and for those of you who don't know that in grams for the U.S. people, that is 4 pounds, and you could just see a girl like who probably starved herself of the 4 pounds to be on camera in the back, going, "Oh my gosh, she's gonna eat that much in one go." So that part's a little bit goofy, but the actual battle, I don't want to spoil it because it got spoiled for me. I was really excited to go into it. Disgusting, absolutely gross. I was eating, I got full immediately just watching them.
Yeah, it's
I'm gonna
not
leave
the
you with
most
the
pleasant activity to watch.
when they do the makes you want to tune out, bro. But they did a clean fight. It was a clean fight. It's been a long time in the making, and records were broken. I'll just put it that way.
Wow.
I'll just leave you with the yay or nay on this as we wrap up the new to see should competitive eating be in the Olympics?
I feel so my feeling is that like ultimately it's a weird thing to judge because not every like food is how do they measure it by weight or do they measure it by dog? Because sometimes the dogs are different than other dogs and
Well, yeah, they all had the exact same dog as well.
yeah.
They did. They had it like it was the exact temperature and whatever else. The rules
Mm.
were like you can't dunk it in water. You have to a bunch of different stuff. Oh, the crumbs. They weighed the crumbs and deducted it. They checked their feet because they
Okay.
said sometimes players cheat and stuff.
See see
Like
that's the thing
what?
is like I was always skeptical about events like breakdancing in the Olympics because like how do you score them? But I guess they figured out all these details. So why not? Why not?
Almost every detail on the breakdancing, but yeah, it really it's just. I would say yay, but we have to figure out what it is. Is it gonna be pie
Right.
eating? Is it gonna be hot dogs? We have a
True.
lot of different cultures from around the world. Not everybody does that. Is it gonna be
Exactly.
rice? Like, what are we gonna do? But I
Yeah,
think
and
once they figure it out, I think it'd be fun.
yeah, I don't think we need like 20 medals for different types of competitive eating, but I could see one or two.
That is everything for this week. I know we have some extra stragglers. Anything you wanted to mention?
Ooh, not really. I do want to give another quick shout out to the Becomers, which is a pretty fun alien story that I was talking about before from director Zach Clark. That one I believe is available on VOD now, and yeah, it's a pretty cool time. Um,
All right there.
yeah, maybe we'll talk
Beautiful.
about it more a little later on in the year.
All right. So I know we had some older news that we missed from last week.
Yeah,
We'll
maybe
run
we
through
just
them
like
really quick.
talk through some of them really quick. We
Go
have
ahead. You tell
we're
me.
doing our summer catch up anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I
Let's
think
catch
one of
up
the
for a movie that's not going to exist.
exactly right. I think one of the big things that we didn't get a chance to talk about was the news about this upcoming or no longer upcoming, to be a little bit more accurate, Todd Haynes movie that was set to star Joaquin Phoenix. And basically, the main takeaway from this announcement was that it was going to be a gay love story that was very, should we call it unflinching, unreserved, very forthcoming, explicit. It was going to be a very explicit gay love story in a way that I don't think we're accustomed to, starring mainstream movie stars, and it's because it's material that a lot of mainstream movie stars tend to shudder at and not
Mm.
really feel like committing to. And Joaquin Phoenix, who was cast in the part and apparently pushed for this movie to be made, also seems to have gotten some cold feet as he exited the project mere days before they were set to start shooting. The fallout from this is pretty extensive in terms of millions of dollars being lost and lots of people who were about to go to work no longer having those jobs. So there is this sense that are larger shoes to drop from this, whether or not it becomes something that ultimately makes an actor like Joaquin Phoenix less hireable or more
Mhm.
uninsurable. I don't know how you feel about that. I kind of feel like the way that Hollywood works, he's ultimately going to get another shot. I mean, it's not the first time that we've had
It's not yeah,
Joaquin Phoenix
exactly.
sours on public opinion, or public opinion
Yeah.
sours on Joaquin Phoenix.
Like people forget they weren't around for the late night
David Letterman
rapping
interview,
shenanigans.
I'm still
They were
here
not. Yeah.
documentary,
So this is nothing, and it's
or
not the
whatever it was
first
called.
time. When I searched up the stuff for Bo is Afraid, he gave that man trouble. He had Ari
Mm-hmm.
pulling out his hair because he was like, "I thought you're a fraud. I thought you're fake. I was just walking out on you." I'm like, "Damn, bro, that sounds like a mess." We had talked about it. It was probably on the Patreon hangout where we had mentioned his him getting Paul Thomas Anderson.
Yeah, he apparently threatened to leave Napoleon, the Ridley Scott film, and was only assuaged when Paul Thomas Anderson came in and did some rewrites on the script. There's also been news coming out that he apparently was very close to leaving Come On right before production. I think there was another film in there as well.
What a troll.
Joker was
Oh,
another one that he almost
joke.
backed down
So
on.
if he's on it, anything
Yeah,
that he's on,
yeah.
yeah. Honestly, it sounds more like it's a miracle if he gets something done more
Mm-hmm.
than this being news that he was going to leave. But I think the idea of him screwing over a lot of people when a lot of it was his ideas and things that he pitched, only to be like, I don't know about that. Sounds very Joaquin to me, but we'll
Yeah.
see. Who knows? Maybe they put it back together, but probably not, considering that they've fallen way too far behind. But sometimes you fall so far behind, like your finale's no good, so you can just do another one.
Yeah, why not? So Ted Lasso apparently is set to come back for season 4. And
That's
I'm
funny, bro.
wondering if they maybe are trying to put some public pressure on these actors with the announcement, because the headlines that were going around is Ted Lasso is coming back, the show you love is coming back. And if you just read a little bit into the Deadline article, it's not exactly that. They've picked up the options on 3 actors for season 4. So Hannah Waddingham, uh, Brett Goldstein, and Jeremy Swift, who play Roy Kent. I forget Hannah Waddingham's character. She's the one who owns the team,
Mm-hmm.
and then Jeremy Swift plays her assistant. Those are the only actors apparently who are currently signed on to return for season 4. Phil Dunster, who plays Jamie Tart, one of the big characters on the show, has other commitments. He will not be able to come back as a series regular. So what's gonna happen? They still have to sign Juno Temple up. They still have to sign Jason Sudeikis up, and Jason Sudeikis is the person who kind of seemed the least committed to doing Ted Lasso for the long term. So he's always talked about this being a 3-season commitment for him. So I wonder what we're ultimately going to get. But we knew this was going to happen right from the second that season 3 ended.
Mm-hmm.
Apple has been sort of teasing the idea that, like, we're not done with AFC Richmond, and good things always stick around, or whatever. I I'm I'm not surprised that they brought this show back. I just wonder what it ultimately is going to be if you're bringing back half the cast and the show has just been declining in quality since season 1.
Mm-hmm. We'll see what they do with it. I think they heard Glenn Powell was making that TV show for the
Yeah.
ESPN thing,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Nah, nah, 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 we got to pull a Swift." So we'll see. I'm just there with it. We'll see how it comes back. If you're not even bringing the same cast, then what's the point? Um, did you get to see this trailer? I never saw the trailer, but stills for this last bit over here from Megalopolis pulling AI quotes.
Yeah. So I did get a chance to see the trailer. Lionsgate dropped a new trailer for Megalopolis, and I thought it was actually a uh, s- a pretty sick move, pretty cool, pretty hard to drop what were negative reviews of some of Francis Ford Coppola's classic movies. There was Roger Ebert saying bad things about Bram Stoker's Dracula. There was Pauline Kael saying negative things about The Godfather. Like these are not just negative reviews, but they are negative reviews from some of the most revered film critics of all time. It's a pretty bold and compelling way to make the case for your new movie, which got pretty bad reviews out of Cannes, actually being a misunderstood classic. However, that case is not so solid when the quotes themselves are all made up. If it seems pretty likely that this was a case of ChatGPT gone wrong. If you ask ChatGPT to compile negative reviews of Coppola's most famous movies with attribution from famous film critics, you get something basically like this, where it just sort of takes quotes that have appeared in negative film reviews and then just slaps a name on them. Like the Roger Ebert quote that they use here was apparently taken from his review of Batman.
Mm, it's corny. Like, I
Yeah.
agree with you. What a really good idea. Why mess it up?
Right. And this
The thing
ultimately
you're calling
got
out, you just became.
yeah, and this ultimately got the marketing executive behind it fired. Lionsgate pulled the
Woo!
ad down.
Good.
Yeah.
That's dumb, bro. What is it with Lionsgate? Borderlands. Screwed it up with The Crow.
Yeah.
This.
It
It's a rough time. No
it does
wonder they
seem like
greenlit Hunger Games.
right? It does seem like a studio that is sort of constantly trying things but not really figuring them out.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited for the movie. You got your tickets for it?
Same. Yeah, I really hope I get into it at TIFF, but that is a
uh,
hard ticket to get.
it,
They're only doing 2 screenings of Megalopolis at TIFF and no press screening.
wait, really? Well, it comes
Yeah,
out right afterwards.
yeah, but it kind of would be
You would
fun to
think.
see it
Is he gonna be
at Roy
there?
Thompson. I think so. I'm assuming so.
He better be there. That'd be worth it
Yeah,
if he does do it. New York
yeah.
should be doing something, bro.
I was surprised they didn't.
Like what? I felt like that is Megalopolis. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see. But that is all of the stuff that we had to break down in terms of the news, in terms of TV, all of the good stuff dealing with the summer. If there are any other picks, let us know down below, and we'll be sure to check it out, cover it, bring it up in the next week's episode, or 2 weeks from now, since Zach's going to be over there watching 120 movies. I think he said is what he's going to break.
At least.
At least triple digits. But now it's time for the most important part of the show. Take it away, Zach.
Absolutely. We got to thank our wonderful patrons, the Intercuties, who help support the show and bring this podcast to you every week. We are so thankful to them. You can see their names on the screen now. But in the Academy tier, we have Tushar, Cademan, Connor, Josh, May, Ricky, Joe, Wiley, Benji, Matt, Jeremy, and Michael, I guess. And then in the producer tier, we've got Toon and Brandon G. Thanks to all of you. Also, thanks to our newest intercutie,
Yep.
Fenage 13. I don't know how to pronounce that, but let me know what I should say in Patreon messages, and I'll fix it for next week. But yeah, if you too would like to support our show, you can do that for as little as $3 a month by clicking the join button if you're watching along live on YouTube, or even if you're watching along later on YouTube, or head over to patreon.com/intercutpod, where you can get a whole bunch of updates about the podcast. You can see our plans for September, because I
Our
include
schemes.
that as well. Um,
Our manifestos.
yeah, exactly. But it's the best place to catch up with the show and find out information about what's going on. We always post not just upcoming our upcoming schedule, but we post our monthly intercut video chats where we chat with all of y'all about the latest happenings in movies. We give you an early look at our brackets before we post them live. We even post full episodes of Intercut before they get cut up and released to the public. So you can join for as little as $3 a month. You can even follow along for free on Patreon just to
Ooh.
get some updates about what's going on in Intercutville. Um, it's a great way to keep up to date with what's going on the podcast, and a great way to support the show if you're enjoying it. Shout out to LaShawn, who's in the live stream, saying worth it. We try to make sure it's worth it for y'all. We try to give you some good content, try to give you some fun access to what we're doing. So check out Patreon, check out the YouTube membership, or you can even support us on Spotify if you'd like, to help let us know you're enjoying the show.
Appreciate that. Now, let's talk about what we have in store for next week. I've got mostly stuff dealing with theaters. So, the biggest one just got out of it. Been hearing nothing but great things for the upcoming Beetlejuice movie. This is 35 years in the making. I realized while I was sitting there right before my screening started this morning, it's going to be really easy to name the third one.
But you're going to conjure him. Will people be ready for that?
Hey, what I'm seeing with the box office, just saying it twice is getting people out there to the theaters, bro. This movie has a lot of people excited, including the director, saying that this is the first time he's actually felt excited to do something. He dissed Dumbo.
Good.
Disney dissing this movie, bro. He is trying to come back with that juice, as the trailer says. The juice is loose, and yeah, it's fun. It's another reskin. Hey, you know, it's been a long time since we've had a movie dealing with Beetlejuice, and if you had a problem with Deadpool and the references that they had, or maybe Alien Romulus was just like showing you things from the old movies, those were terrible. But maybe, as I've seen from some reviewers who didn't like those, nope, the concept's not the problem. You just need a good reskin, and Beetlejuice might just be that. It's a fun movie. It's not obviously up there with the first, but it is playing in the playground that a lot of these legacy sequels do, and like they will stare at the camera and tell you exactly what they're doing. There is a blatant one dealing with an element of the first movie that they just stare at the camera and tell you how they're gonna handle it. They clean up a lot of the effects. I just saw the original. You know, some stuff doesn't hold up, but it's so inventive, dude, that like it's charming. It's cute. It's adorable.
Can I tell you a secret in the privacy of just you and I chatting and nobody watching this show?
Nobody.
I hadn't seen the original until recently. I caught up with it, and it is delightful. As you mentioned, it is really inventive, and it is really creative in a way that I think that we used to be able to take for granted with Tim Burton, and maybe don't take for granted so much anymore.
Yeah.
But it's just
Tim
kind
Burton.
it's just a little bit unhinged in the right way that tickles me. Yeah, super wacky, super fun. Michael Keaton doing just like incredible stuff in this movie. Gotta say, I think this is top. It ended up top 3 Tim Burton for me.
Oh, easily, for sure. What's top 2?
Top 2. We got a tier list queued up. If we could go through this in a bit.
Because you got Mars Attacks. Right off the bat, bro, I'm a big fan of Big Fish.
I love
Massive fan of Big Fish. Obviously love the Batmans. Sleepy Hollow is beautiful. I think his most underrated one, without a doubt, is Ed Wood.
Ed Wood for sure. That's top 3.
Ed Wood for sure. Damn, bro. Sometimes I was like, I remember liking this movie, and then I let myself know, nah, bro, that was the one.
You love that movie.
Ed Wood's so good, bro.
Yeah.
But I grew up with Big Fish, bro. I snuck into this movie I don't know how many times. I loved Big Fish back in the day. The wonder, the whimsy. That's what he does so well. And it's felt corporatized ever since he did, honestly, to me, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Mm-hmm.
I've never cared for Alice.
Yeah. Charlie is where it started, but then Alice is really the nadir for me.
I guess, yeah. Planet of the Apes, maybe, too. Although this was pretty goofy fun, I guess, if you look back at it.
Yeah.
Beetlejuice is somewhere in the middle. Let's call it his split. Or not his split. Let's call it The Visit. Somewhere in between there. You'll cut the difference there. I think people are going to really like it. People are very excited for it. My only critique, you know, the title character gets double mentioned in the title, but I don't think we get double the dose. That's all I'm saying. I think we could have gotten a little bit more of him. I will say right now, the standout, bro.
Really? Monica Bellucci?
She don't even do nothing, bro.
Well, she's a standout in a lot of ways. I saw Michael Keaton say something about wanting to stay true to how he was sort of just a supporting character in the original. I mean, it is something that struck me on my watch of it, that like he doesn't really even do much in the first half hour of that movie.
Yeah, but like he is supporting here. I'll put it to you that way. Like he is there to help the plot with whatever it needs. And I don't know, like hearing that he had improvised most of the original.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much they let him do here because it's a mixture of like, okay, there's a lot of set pieces that are going to deal with wires and stuff. They feel like they were already set up for you. I don't know how much wiggle room you got with it.
Right.
He's definitely better in the first than he is in here, but I mean, they had the man on Hot Ones, Not Ones, whatever it was that he was doing, so they're definitely putting him out all over the place. Catherine O'Hara, bro.
The
We'll get
GOAT.
before review later. She's the best one. She's a good actress, bro.
Yeah.
I didn't see the Jenna Ortega or even the what's her name for Lydia. They weren't the characters that like I expected to see, but she did not come to play, bro. There were scenes where I swore she was telling the production, "Hey, this is actually what the story's about." And I don't know if y'all remember what the original was about, but we kind of moved like this. She's incredible. She's great in this movie. It's a lot of fun. I'm not down on it at all. Got up really early in the morning to see it, and everyone's out at Telluride. Everyone's out at getting ready to go to TIFF, so we had a pretty empty screening. But for the most part, the press really liked it. They liked the callbacks to it, and I can definitely see it being a hit with fans. But hopefully, like a lot of these movies from The Crow and all these new remakes, it gives you the chance to go check out the original. You got to see Beetlejuice, man. Go see The Crow. I'm gonna go see the original version of The Killer.
Yeah.
And then we'll watch the original Reagan together.
The problem is I was always scared as a kid. Like, you know this, I got into horror movies late.
Okay.
So anything that was even horror adjacent, I just didn't see it.
I will give you a pass because I'm not going to lie. Beetlejuice scared the hell out of me.
It would have traumatized me.
I was rewatching it while there was still daylight outside. When they pull their stuff out, I don't like it, bro.
That would have been nightmare.
I don't think it's for kids. I don't think it's for kids. Yeah. It would have really messed you up. And I think you're still going to get nightmares. This one's not as scary. It doesn't have that.
Oh.
So it's like, I'm telling you right now that the novelty's a little gone. I won't lie. It's still cute.
Do you have fun with the effects, though?
They're just updated effects. They're just updated effects. Nothing's going to beat the other stuff. So
yeah.
They fixed the worm. Different stuff like that, but I don't care. I'll take his shrinking CGI head over everything. Shout out Bob. Bob was pretty good in the movie too. Moving on to some of the other stuff that's coming out in theaters. I don't know if is this limited or is this Netflix for his three daughters?
I want to say it's limited.
Okay, I know it got the pickup for Netflix, but if it is playing in a theater, specifically like an independent house, an art house theater, go give it a watch. I thought this had some really strong performances about three sisters who are coming together after their father is on the brink of dying. And I thought that the way that they're able to pretty much have the whole movie take place in one room was delightful. For many, that means watching it at home, and it's going to be on Netflix for sure. But for whatever reason, I think we saw this together on the IMAX screen.
No, I missed this one, but I think Caitlin was at it.
Okay. They look beautiful. I mean, you really get to see the actresses up on screen. You know, we had Oppenheimer for a reason up on the big screen because the face, as Hoytman said, it's a landscape in and of itself. And you have three outstanding actresses: Natasha Lyonne, Elizabeth Olsen, and Carrie Coon. Some really good stuff here, and I'd give it my recommendation as well.
Yeah, this was a Netflix pickup, and the word is that they see this as a potential words player. Particularly, it seems like Natasha Lyonne is somebody that some people think might be in the race for. I don't know if it's supporting actress or lead actress. Could you see that, or do you not really feel that having seen the movie?
For me,
yeah,
for me, and it's weird because they go all over the place, right? This is up there for ensemble because of the three of them. Right. I want to say Natasha is the best one here, but Elizabeth Olsen is doing the most. She plays like a very. You've seen
my
it?
Girl. No, I didn't see it.
Oh, you still haven't seen it, bro? Okay, I'm gonna say
it.
No, you gotta watch it, bro. Once you watch it, it's just gonna be a very fascinating conversation to have with you, especially in terms of the actresses. Because then you got Carrie Coon, and she just shows up and breathes, you know. They're so different from each other. This was an incredible. Did Caitlin like it? I think she liked it, right?
No, she liked it, but I think she was more mid on it. Yeah.
Okay. I was about to say she hates her sisters, but I remember y'all guys are only kids.
Yep. Only the lonely.
That makes sense. She's probably looking at it like, yeah, bro, I don't gotta put up
I
with
can't
this.
relate. Can't relate.
It really is them just hounding on each other the entire time. But it kind of worked as well. There's a lot of tension going on in it as they're all bottled up in that one room.
Yeah.
But I would recommend it. His Three Daughters.
Nice.
Coming very soon. Another one with Netflix, bro. I think we both got thumbs up on this one. We've mentioned it before. Rebel Ridge looks fire.
Yeah.
If I could see this in a theater, if AMC's weren't blocking out Netflix movies,
Right.
I'd be seated for sure. But I'm excited for this one. Rebel Ridge by Jeremy Saulnier.
Yeah, I think it was David Ehrlich who said in his little tweet review, like, he doesn't understand why this movie isn't playing in a bunch of theaters because it would kick absolute ass on the big screen. And having seen Green Room, having seen Blue Ruin, I can only assume that he is telling the truth about this one. I am very excited for the latest from Jeremy Saulnier, Rebel Ridge.
A lot of people match the visuals at home, but Jeremy knows how to do sound. Like, crazy, dude. And not many people have that in the comfort of their own home, and that's why it would have been worth in theaters. So Rebel Ridge, highly anticipating that one. This one, Red Rooms, I got on a screener like a while ago.
Yeah.
It is demented without showing you anything. I recommended it when I did my trap review because the t-shirt guy kind of reminded me of the people who love this, of a guy being on trial and putting videos out of his victims that the main actress kind of bids for online. It is a really messed up underbelly of a movie. I want to say it's French. Fascinating movie. I'm looking forward to giving it a rewatch as well. But if this is playing at a theater, you're in for 2 hours of just uncomfortableness. That's all I got to say. Red Room.
Nice.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to catching up with that one. I've seen some people call it kind of like Fincherian. Does that make some sense to you?
Completely fair. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Definitely in the realm of Dragon Tattoo. I can see that.
Nice.
I can see that. More digital too. We got another room, the front room. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I'm kind of excited.
Well, it's coming from the Eggers brothers, not Robert, the one who we're familiar with, but his other two brothers who are filmmakers now, I guess.
They've worked with him. I know they've gotten some credits in the previous ones as well, so they've got to run a little bit in the blood, no?
Max and Sam Eggers.
Max and Sam, they look a little bit like him. The trailers, I think, look goofy.
Yeah.
There's no way that it's any worse than the Deliverance. I'm rooting for Brandy, but every time I see Catherine Hunter, bro, she says this line in the trailer, bro. She goes, "Oh, you think that erase him?" And I'm like, the way she says erase him gets me every time. I don't think she's a person who acts. I think she's a person who embodies whatever role she is. She became that witch in Tragedy of Macbeth. She's fantastic, bro. So I'm looking forward to that one up on the big screen, along with Red Rooms if it was playing, but definitely Rebel Ridge. I think Rebel Ridge so far is my most anticipated out of the ones that I haven't seen. But that is this week in movies. I don't know if you had any other straggler picks for the coming attractions. If not
that I can think of. Yeah,
to the picks of the week. I had mentioned it earlier. Want to give it the shout out. Specifically, I should probably check to see if it's on. Hey, they said they fixed it. Let's check it. Ready?
Live.
Oh yeah, I put the "and," bro.
Ooh, the
it
ampersand.
Worked.
That's the difference.
Hold on. What's the baseball one? Who directed School of Rock?
Linklater. Everybody wants some. Is that what?
Everybody wants some. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
So everybody wants some. 2 exclamation points, right?
2 exclamation points. Yeah. Or are we talking about? Oh.
Ooh,
yeah.
That's
I
crazy.
saw some people say that Letterboxd fixed its search feature, but
that's what I was testing. Right there. Everybody wants some 2 exclamation points. You see it right there. Let me delete the exclamation points. There it is. But what's that? What's that right there? An
2 exclamation points.
They didn't fix anything, bro. Yeah. I want money back for my pro. This is ridiculous. All right, on to my actual recommendation. There is this movie that was getting lauded online called Milk and Cereal, a found footage straight-to-YouTube movie about a couple of pranksters who have their own YouTube channels. A movie made by a YouTuber about YouTubers who are trying to one-up each other. I went in not knowing anything. I already told you more than I knew. I thought it was decent. I really liked the no, the chutzpah, just the idea, the DIY of it, I thought was really cool. So I'm gonna give it a recommendation. I'm curious your thoughts as a non-horror fan, how you feel about the way that it covers influencer culture, as well as some other undertones that are there. But Curry Barker, sorry, director, writer, producer. I think he was crafty. I think he drove them to set. I think he just edited everything in this movie. Give it a watch. I liked the effort that he put into it. I thought it was pretty interesting. So I thought it was short, but it is technically a feature.
Yeah, 62 minutes. It's a decent
Mhm.
size. Wonder what it says about us as a society that virtually every movie about an influencer that I can think about is a horror movie or horror adjacent.
Search
I mean, that's
thriller,
kind of a horror.
still thriller, yeah.
Yeah. Ingrid Goes West is kind of adjacent.
Kind of adjacent as well. The Ingrid Goes West is a very similar one to this one also. Yeah, I think you're right, bro. Almost everything. If it's on your computer, if it's on all that. Yeah, we're screwed.
Horrifies us.
The next the next one that I have is this movie called Snack Shack. This
Yes.
I know was getting a lot of buzz throughout, and I was like, hey, let me check it out. And I was like, it's pretty good. I want to revisit it again now that it's going to be over on Prime, because I kind of had like a boot link for it, and it reminds me of like, I'm blinking on the movie, but just this idea, like kids just making it on their own. There's a specific
Yeah.
movie I'm thinking of. I don't know why I'm blinking on what it is, but just this idea of them getting together and being able to like flip stuff, and
Yeah.
then the ins and outs that comes not only in the business that they're creating, but in their friendship and stuff.
Mhm.
It's like perfectly there of not being too polished, but also like not as rough. Like if I'm going from milk and cereal, really feeling like an independent YouTube project, this is somewhere right there in the middle, and it stands out because of it.
Yeah, it's got shades of like The Boys of Summer. You remember that film? Which
Is that the one
sort
I'm
of
thinking
like the sort of rambunctious energy of youth, and the freedom of summer. It's got sort of some shades of maybe like Adventureland, where it's the aspect of
That's a
like
good one.
being
That's a good one,
young
yeah.
and the community around a job and the different people that you run into when you're working this kind of job that gives you a lot of freedom and downtime. And then also I feel like there's some shades of Superbad there in this best friend dynamic between the Gabrielle LaBelle character and the Connor Sherry character. This is a movie that I caught in flight, and pretty quickly I realized, oh man, I should not be watching it this way. It is much better than this
That's what I'm
format is
saying,
allowing.
dude.
I
Exactly.
really dug it. This is like, I kind of feel like this would have been my favorite movie if I watched it at 15, 16 years old. It's just got
Right?
a really cool youthful exuberance and enthusiasm and sense of just like belonging. I don't know. Particularly, I feel like we got to shout out Gabriel LaBelle, who
Bruh, like I
we
didn't even
liked him.
realize.
Yeah, we liked him a lot in the Fablemans. This is a completely different character, and he is
Hell
such a charm magnet in this film. He's so dynamic, so funny. And
And he's got
yeah, as you
this.
pointed up, he's got Saturday Night right around the corner, so he's really emerging into a real star.
Really quick, all the SNL stuff, the people who've been praising it, they've been saying exactly what I want to hear.
Yeah,
And the people
yeah.
who've been hating it tell me exactly what I want to hear. Let's go.
Yeah, the first round of reviews
man's a
got
new
me a
one.
lot more excited about Saturday Night. I'll say that.
I'm ecstatic for it, and I really like what LaShawn said. I still don't think this was the one, but the way back is a good comparison also for it, and just being able to capture that essence of youth with it. So Snack Shack, honestly, it's really funny. As indie as it gets, a little step up. And then honestly, like it doesn't get any more like cohesive and Sundance award-winning worthy than Dìdi.
Right.
Out on VOD already, so I have to mention it. One of our favorites out of Sundance. I don't even know why I have not rated this, bro. Come on, Dìdi. I got to catch it again in theaters when it was still playing. I've been working on a video for it because I've just been listening to the man talk. I love hearing Sean Wong talk, bro. Just really fascinating stuff from behind the scenes. They all went to the same Sundance lab as the Searching Boys, Carlos Estrada, like all of them, just like they're the I don't want to call them the Rat Pack, but they're like that new group kind of coming up from the Sundance labs, and you see
Right.
it in here because it's got, I think, the same editors for searching in the way that they're able to break down a lot of the not even found footage like we were mentioning, but tech, and already making it like a period piece. And
Right.
I just love Dìdi. So to wrap up my list, Dìdi out on VOD already.
Yeah. By the way, I think the movie that I was thinking of when I said Boys of Summer is Kings of Summer, the Jordan Vogt Roberts one, if you remember that one.
I think you freaking hit it, bro. You need to start a podcast.
We should start a podcast.
There he is. This the one. Because I think this came out the same time. There was another one called like Funeral Boys or something like that.
Yeah. I think
It-
you have
dude,
a
it's
different tab than the one that you're showing on the
Oh,
stream
my bad,
guard, by the way.
Right there, right there, right there.
Yeah.
Kings of Summer. Yeah. Bro, this, how do we put this, right? I started going 2017 to Sundance and all these festivals.
Mm-hmm.
This was the appetizer that made me go, I got to be at these festivals. I'm
Yes.
always looking for movies like this, and that's exactly what Snack Shack gives you. Let me know what you got.
All right, my picks for the week. I wanted to start it out with one that we've been talking about, but I want to give it another shot because industry just dropped an all-timer this week. Rishi is one of the like really fun side characters who hasn't necessarily gotten like a huge amount of screen time, but he's always dropping just absolutely hilarious non sequiturs, and sometimes just in the background of other really tense scenes. The actor who's way back in the poster there, if you do want to zoom in on him.
Because he's always the one who they're like, can we do the deal? He goes, tell me what we got. And then he's got to like, okay, yeah.
Exactly, right? But he is mostly in the background of this show. He has moments, but they did an interesting thing this week on Industry, and for a show that's often juggling all of its characters, they went full Rishi for an hour and gave us like an uncut
Ooh.
gems level racketing up the tension bender of a weekend, and it may very well be the best industry episode ever. Just the way that they show these people like colliding headfirst through bad personal and professional decisions, but just having the appetite for risk that it takes in order to see it through to the other side. It is so dynamic, so funny, so on the edge of your seat. And what I love about it, and so much of the show, is they do so many things that feel like they could really string this out. Like this whole Rishi storyline could have been the an entire season 3 runner of like what's going on in his personal life, what's going on in his finances, when is this gonna all come to a head. And instead they just love ripping the band-aid on this show and giving it to you in episode 4. It is so good. This season has been absolutely incredible. It's lived up to all the hype. You really, if you're not up on it, you got to get with it every week, man. This is an every week kind of show.
Man, I got you. I got Drake posting it on his story. It's everywhere. It's a good show. It's a great show.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to catch up for sure.
Absolutely. So another shot for industry, especially the episode. What was it? White Nonsense, I believe, this week. White Mischief or something like that. Very fun episode. But I'm going to stick with TV and shout out a show that I believe is actually starting tonight on FX. It is English Teacher. Have you seen anything about this?
I've seen trailers of it because so I don't know this guy. I just remember him from Megan. I did a little deep dive, and it turns out he's a funny dude. So I'm excited to see a funny dude get his own show.
You know, when there's like a new thing coming out and you start seeing like all these people that you think are funny talk about another person as with reverence, like they think this person's really funny. I saw it like almost every funny person I follow on Twitter doing that to Brian Jordan Alvarez in the past couple weeks. And that to me is enough of an endorsement. You know, I saw the trailer. It does look really fun and kind of subversive. It's another sitcom that's set in a school, but this one definitely has like a much harder edge than Abbott Elementary. This is not like a
high school, right?
Yeah, and he plays an English teacher, a gay English teacher. And I don't know. I just the trailer made me giggle, so I'm curious what this one's going to be like, and it's got a bunch of endorsements from people that I agree with. So I'm definitely checking out the English teacher. It's going to be on Hulu, I think, next day.
Hulu?
So I'm curious about that.
Sounds good. Yeah. The moment I saw that in Megan, hold on, let me not let this glitch out, bro. In Megan, he plays one of the assistants.
Right.
They were supposed to die, and he convinced James Wan, who has a record, because even Ronnie Chang's in this one, who has a record of if you make him laugh, he wants to see more of you.
Hmm.
Brought him back. So I'm like, okay, bro, like you laughed your way into a sequel, so he's got to be funny, bro.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to it. Good for him.
absolutely.
Glad he got a show. That's
Yeah,
cool.
you're very curious about it. And then my last pick of the week is a documentary that's maybe a little bit off the radar, but it is called Not Jazz, and it is a profile of the jazz band Medeski, Martin, and Wood. And I'm probably gonna
Okay.
say a bunch of stuff that jazz people will roll their eyes at, but I've always sort of felt like Medeski, Martin, and Wood are this really interesting trio in that they make this music that sort of feels like outside the realms of the genre. Like it is a little bit undefinable. It has sort of the elements of jazz and a lot of the structures of jazz, but the rhythms are really unpredictable. I feel like they're people who like to work in like odd time signatures and using interesting
Mm.
sounds and stuff like that. So I found this documentary to be a really interesting just look at what goes into making this stuff happen. The documentary is called Not Jazz as sort of like an allusion to their style of music. It's not jazz, and I think what's really cool is they really let um, the words kind of fade away, especially as you go further along in the documentary, and really focus on just the musicality. You get just long sequences of seeing these three artists perform at their instruments, whether it's as a group or just solo. And you get to appreciate just the uniqueness to their style, the uniqueness to their sound. It's not necessarily like the deepest dive, and I don't think that their story is like full of enough drama to be featured on like VH1 behind the scenes or anything like that.
Mm.
But if you just are a music person, if you appreciate jazz, or if you've heard Medeski, Martin, and Wood, and you respond to the music, I do think you'll really enjoy this latest one, which is available to rent on VOD.
Nice. All right. What does Damien Chazelle have to say about it?
He's used to being called not jazz.
That's funny. I'll make sure to
Yeah,
check that one out. That sounds really cool.
definitely.
Running it back, I got Milk and Cereal over on YouTube.com. You're able to catch it right there. A nice independent horror film. If you're not up for that, then over on Prime, they're releasing Snack Shack, which I think is a nice little hidden gem, nice little indie flick that it will finally be available for more people to watch. And I think Prime's a perfect place, probably second to Netflix, for people to be able to catch up on it. And then my final one, if you've got the money and weren't able to see it in theaters, it is now available everywhere in all screens near you. Dìdi, one of the standouts out of Sundance, had the chance to catch it twice now, and I highly recommend it. I'm gonna throw Kings of Summer in there as well. I'm going for
Nice, nice.
the conjoined pick right there. Zach Scott.
Awesome. I've got the best show on TV right now, Industry, which
Ooh.
just delivered one of its all-timer episodes this week. And I've got a show that I'm hoping is going to become one of my favorite shows on TV, English Teacher, which is about to debut on FX. And while we're just throwing in last recommendations, and speaking of FX, the new season of Only Murders in the Building
Doing good?
is just started. I've only caught the first one so far, but I think it's more of the stuff that I love about the show. So if you are a
I
fan,
heard the second episode was like, I've seen people breaking that one down.
okay.
Yeah, so
Well,
I don't know what that
maybe
means. I haven't been in the building
yeah, true,
that
true.
much, but
They're
I'm
doing
hoping you like it.
a Only Murders in the Building escape room in New York City this month.
What? Okay, sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know
Okay,
what
kind
it
of
is.
works. That doesn't sound
Yeah,
bad. All
yeah.
right.
But anyway, that show is back as well. But my last recommendation, my last pick for the week, is the documentary Not Jazz, a compelling profile of the jazz trio Medeski, Martin, and Wood.
Fine. You can catch all of those picks over on the Intercut letterbox, where we add everything, including the Hillary Duff.
Raise your voice.
Yes,
The
including Raise Your Voice, the classic, of course, over on the Intercut Pod letterbox account, where we show you everything. If there's a movie that we mention on this podcast, we want to make sure there's a place for you guys to find it. Last week, Zach, Amanda, and Chase hopped on to go do the TIFF breakdown, and it was very easy for me to just go there and be like, what's that one that we're mentioning with the this and that? Boom, it's all right there, ready for you to go. And they're fixing Letterboxd little by little. I really appreciate the release date that they've now put for specific movies. That helps a lot because I can see, okay,
Yeah.
if it's not playing at this fast, it's going to play over here. It's not as up to date as IMDb yet, but they got the IMDb button right there, right?
Yeah, they're
So
getting
a lot
there.
of good stuff over there. Definitely check it out right there. You can duplicate the list. You can just add the picks that you want. You can see how we've ranked them as we combine our ratings every week here on the Weekend Must Watch. You can find more from me over at LME Movies on Twitter, YouTube, all of that good stuff. Zach, where can people find more from you?
You can find more from me at Zshevich wherever across social media, and you find more videos from me at Multiplex Show.
Beautiful. A reminder that you can catch and listen to every episode of the Intercut podcast on iTunes, Anchor, Spotify, or whatever your favorite podcatcher is. You can watch the live video here on YouTube.com where we go through all of our weekend must-watch picks, all of our summer picks, and we're about to get really busy. We're about to
Very
get so
busy,
busy
dude.
for the fall.
Dude, I'm so
But
tired
excited,
already.
dude.
Tired thinking
We
about
thought- Right?
it.
I'm so tired I can't even sleep.
I know.
Hey, I wouldn't have it any other way, bro. We have a
Mhm.
good amount of what seems to be soon to be classics. And then
Yeah.
I'm just looking at 2025 and it's looking like a banger year as well. There's a Jurassic World movie directed by
With-
Gareth Edwards. I
With
didn't even
Scarlett
realize
Johansson
it was
and Mahershala Ali.
bro. Let's get through
it
this
better
fall.
hit. It better
Let's
hit.
get
'cause
through
the
this
last few-
winter.
Yeah.
There's so much coming out next year. It's gonna be crazy. But a big shout out to all the Intercuties who listen live, all of the patrons, iTunes listeners, members, everyone who leaves us a 5-star review. It really helps us with just our souls. It edifies us. It gives us the nutrients that we need, so that we don't have to hire Anjanou Ellis to come in here and give us a deliverance. We appreciate that. This week we charted.
We charted all over the place. We were pretty high up in Singapore and the UAE, as well as the Netherlands. We were really high on the charts in Canada. Shouts to all of you who are prepping for
TIFF.
TIFF, I'm sure. We also charted in the Czech Republic, in Portugal, in Poland, in South Africa, in the Netherlands, in Norway, in Ireland, in Spain, in Germany, Australia, and right here in the United States of America.
Beautiful. Don't forget to leave us a comment. Drop a like. Follow all the socials at Intercut Pod, from the main channel to the clips, the Twitter, all of that good stuff. And until next time, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. I was going to say the Glenn Close line, but I'm not. Just make sure to wash yourself so you don't got that smelly thing on you.